following a vote last night.
I'm Tom Ackerman.
Calls for a massive permanent push to make downtown St. Louis safer.
We are way past anything that can just be, let's put on some kabuki theater.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Scott Jagow. Comments made by a St. Louis alderwoman reverberating through the community. I'll have that story coming up.
A federal appeals court blocks the Trump administration from limiting government food assistance unless the Supreme Court intervenes.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A late night step toward ending the now 41-day-old shutdown.
On this vote, the yeas are 60 and the nays are 40.
The Senate voted to advance legislation to reopen the government after 8 Democrats crossed party lines. Correspondent Linda Kenyon from Washington.
Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn cast the vote to cross the procedural hurdle. Senate Majority Leader John Thune was optimistic about final passage.
Nutrition programs, our veterans, and other critical priorities will have their full-year funding.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said Republicans still have not addressed expiring health care tax subsidies that millions of Americans depend upon under the Affordable Care Act.
This fight will and must continue.
The shutdown could still take days to end since the House has to be called back to Washington to pass the bill that funds the federal government through January.
Flight delays and cancellations are mounting. There are more than 2,400 in the U.S. so far today. And Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy predicts those numbers will go up because of FAA-ordered reductions. This passenger waited at Newark.
We were delayed 4 hours in intervals, 7 to 8:15 to 10:30, 10:15 to 10:30, and I think we finally departed at 11:05.
A federal appeals court has denied the administration's bid to hold off on fully funding SNAP food benefits. It means the government will have to make payments within 48 hours unless the Supreme Court intervenes. The Justice Department says President Trump has pardoned Rudy Giuliani, his former personal lawyer, along with his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and others implicated in a plot to overturn the results of the 2020 election. The government's pardon attorney posted to X the pardons do not apply to the president himself. Couple of shock resignations overseas.
I'm Vicki Barker in London. BBC Director General Tim Davie and the CEO of News, Deborah Turness, suddenly stepped down over a Donald Trump soundbite the producers edited in a way that made it sound as if he was explicitly inciting violence on January 6th.
It was the sort of stuff that the BBC criticised others for doing.
British lawmaker Caroline Dinant, who heads the committee, which will be grilling the broadcaster's chairman, he's expected to issue an apology.
The NBA's most prolific coach, Lenny Wilkens, has died.
This is awesome. It's something I never dreamed of. I mean, how could you dream of being in the Hall of Fame as a player and as a coach?
Played for the Hawks, the Sonics, the Cavs. As a coach, he led Seattle to a title in 1979. Lenny Wilkens was 88. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
It is 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got mostly clear skies and 25 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. That forecast is going to warm up for us. We'll check that for you here in just a few minutes at 6:10. The city of St. Louis will lose another big company name.
Peabody has announced they are moving to Des Peres, vacating their downtown headquarters. I asked St. Louis Development Corporation CEO Otis Williams when they first learned of the move.
Well, just found out today with the announcement in the newspaper. And so we are sad to see them leave, but we wish them well.
What was your reaction to seeing them
leave? We're disappointed.
He says they have been working on opening more frequent communications with downtown businesses of late. So I asked what concerns they share.
People want to feel safe, and the good thing is that crime is in fact going down.
Williams says they had not spoken to Peabody since 2023 and the mayor's office since this summer, and he wishes they had the chance to talk with them before they made their decision. In downtown St. Louis, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Peabody Energy renewed its lease in its namesake tower in 2022. From the archives then, here's Chief Administrative Officer Scott Jarboe.
First thing that we thought about was the safety of our employees. And through those conversations that we had with City Hall and with Greater St. Louis, we felt very comfortable.
The company had thought about leaving downtown a year earlier after some office windows were broken by overnight gunfire, but decided to stay. Terms of the lease were not announced. At last report, Peabody Plaza was more than 90% leased.
Unfortunately, it is a blow to downtown and a blow to the city. It's especially a blow to downtown.
That's the reaction of a longtime city leader to the move of Peabody's global headquarters from the shadow of the Gateway Arch to the corner of Manchester and 270.
If you drive around downtown, work downtown, or come downtown occasionally for a game, you can see for yourself what the situation is.
That situation requires movement like we haven't seen, says former Mayor Slate Chief of Staff Jeff Rainford.
Not temporarily and not in, sort of a haphazard way like having the National Guard come in, but in a real way. You need some big gesture like that.
Rainford says there's no way it could be just another iteration of hotspot policing.
I'm not against these little dinks and dunks like let's give some people some money to fix their storefronts, but downtown is now at a point where it's going to need some big, and as you pointed out, some big permanent measures in order to turn things around. I do not think it's hopeless.
Cooperation, he says, needs to include the state with the city, but also companies making real concrete commitments to the city.
The business community is going to have to step up.
When asked if Peabody's jump renews the city-county rivalry that had become more cooperative last decade, Rainford says,
I'm going to presume that there's nobody's putting any incentives to get them to go to Depair, that St. Louis County government didn't have anything to do with it.
Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A longtime alderwoman in St. Louis taking heat for comments she made on Friday.
At Friday's Board of Aldermen meeting, 12th Ward Representative Sharon Tyus said this.
The people who are creating the most terror are the Palestinians who run the gas stations and are having shootings and killings. So it's hard.
Reaction came from fellow aldermen and others like attorney Jake Hansler. He represents dozens of Arab business owners. He tells Fox 2 it's a diverse community that cares.
They have invested money. They have opened restaurants and gas stations and beauty supply stores and auto stores.
A nonprofit group called Breaking Generational Poverty has been working with gas station owners to reduce violence. Board member Bryson Banks says Tyus's words were divisive and irresponsible.
Her comments were based on something. However, it is a gross negligence of responsibility to make such broad claims.
The St. Louis police issued a statement saying they don't have the data to support Tyus's claim, but they are working with all community members to build a safer St. Louis. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
St. Louis has created a city food insecurity fund to help residents impacted by federal SNAP cuts.
This is Stuart McMillan. The fund, administered by United Way of Greater St. Louis, will dedicate donations to emergency assistance. It was created in partnership with the St. Louis Area Food Bank and Operation Food Search. Numbers from St. Louis City Mayor Kara Spencer indicate that 1 in 5 residents in St. Louis rely on SNAP. The mayor is afraid these cuts will add another challenge for residents still rebuilding after the May 16th tornado.
The business desk is sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. A 54,000 square foot industrial building will be the first project built at the new Gateway South District, which aims to transform an historic industrial area into an innovation hub. Construction Forum reports the new spec building will include 2 acres of outdoor storage and is designed to attract logistics or manufacturing tenants. The 100-acre site is positioned as a future center for the construction and design industries, with ready access to the region's barge, rail, and highway networks.
6:08 traffic and weather next.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Redbirds Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, Izzy, what's going on, man? Looks kind of like you got something on your mind.
Well, Eddie boy, I'm thinking you may need to change the name of your place from Fast Eddie's to $5 Eddie's.
$5 Eddie's? Man, why in the world would I call it $5 Eddie's?
Well, I was in there the other day and bought myself the coldest beer I've ever had in my life, and I gave the guy $5. And then I went over and got some of those huge cold water peel and eat shrimps, and I gave her $5.
Well, I never really thought about that. There's a lot of $5 going on in there.
And then I went back up and got one of those huge Fast Eddie cheeseburgers, and I gave them $5 again.
Man, definitely has a ring to it. I think there's a lot of $5 going on.
Yeah, and I had about $100 worth of good time.
Well, that's good to hear, and it's easy to do with live music 7 days a week and a big old party going on that big, beautiful outdoor patio.
Well, like Mr. Shannon always says, if you're 21 and in the mood, head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton, Illinois, and maybe take a selfie on that old Harley Davidson of mine.
Who else has got a Cardinal Hall of Famer's Harley Davidson sitting out on the patio for some selfies?
Only Eddie boy.
I
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10 and time for us to check traffic and weather. And we start with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing okay. We just keep having minor incidents. Now, this one is the only one that's of any real consequence so far, Debbie, and it's a crash westbound 70 at 170. Crash. It looks like it's in one of the center lanes, but again, from my vantage point, it's really hard to tell. Just a little bit of a delay, though. Just a little slowdown westbound 70 as you approach 170 due to that crash. We also had that one on 141 south of Olive. Again, it looked to me like maybe it was northbound with the lights I could see, but again, not enough volume out there to slow you down. We had that crash westbound 44 west of 109. A semi hit the guardrail. He's on the right shoulder, so again, no delays there. Northbound 55 just looks a little slow right now, north of a 67 and around McNutt at a couple of spots, but not bad all in all. Next update at 6:20, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today will turn out mostly sunny, windy, and cold with a high just 39 and active with the real feel temperatures mainly the 20s. It'll be clear this evening with a diminishing wind, partly cloudy and cold late tonight. We'll dip to 22 in the coldest suburbs, 27 downtown at the Arch. Veterans Day will be partly sunny, breezy, and milder in the afternoon, high 56. Mostly sunny Wednesday, breezy at times, high 64. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
25 degrees in downtown St. Louis, feels like 11. Weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It is 6:12. The U.S. Senate is well on its way toward ending the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history.
Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn cast the 60th vote to cross the procedural hurdle. Senate Majority Leader John Thune was optimistic about final passage.
Nutrition programs, our veterans, and other critical priorities will have their full-year funding.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said Republicans still have not addressed expiring health care tax subsidies that millions of Americans depend upon under the Affordable Care Act.
This fight will and must continue.
The shutdown could still take days to end since the House has to be called back to Washington to pass the bill that funds the federal government through January. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin is one of the 8 senators who crossed party lines for the government shutdown vote.
They're not happy with the MAGA movement and what it's brought to America.
That is Durbin talking about how this past Tuesday's elections proved Americans are not happy with where the country is heading.
The results across the board were overwhelmingly in favor of the Democrats. It doesn't square with the happy talk which we've heard on the floor about the achievements of the Trump administration.
In a candid moment, Durbin said President Trump conceded that the shutdown cost him many votes in the election.
It's not going to get better at airports nationwide. The assessment of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who says air travel would diminish to a trickle. At Lambert, while delays and cancellations were not on the scale of some of the major airports, flights were delayed and there were a handful of cancellations. Fox 2 spoke with some patient flyers.
What are you going to do? You're going to get upset? Who are you going to yell at? There's no specific person to complain to. Everybody's trying to do their best.
Nobody wants a delay, not the pilot or the crew or anyone, so it happens.
Nearly 9,000 flights were delayed or canceled nationwide on Sunday.
A trail of stolen checks and fingerprints landed a former St. Louis postal worker in federal prison. The investigation into 31-year-old Anthony Verdurer began in December 2023 when Hazelwood police found 30 stolen checks in a returned rental car. His fingerprints were found on the mail. Police later linked him to hundreds of other stolen checks found in Frontenac during an FBI raid. Verdurer was sentenced to 18 months for the scheme. The stolen checks all totaled $2.4 million.
Legislation filed in the U.S. Senate seeks to keep track of how many people lose their jobs to artificial intelligence. It's co-sponsored by Missouri Senator Josh Hawley.
So here's what our legislation would do. It would require these tech companies to come forward with data about how many jobs they are cutting because of AI and how many they're creating. They are out there saying, oh, we're going to have a job bonanza. Great. Let's see the evidence.
The bill would require federal agencies and major companies to provide quarterly reports on AI-related job losses to the U.S. Labor Department, which would then provide an annual report to Congress. Virginia Democrat Mark Warner is co-sponsoring the measure.
Respect for your opponent, just respect for competition in general, and that anything can happen. That's what makes sports, the best entertainment to me in the world is, nothing's done on paper. There's no guarantees. Games aren't won on paper. They're won on the court or the field or whatever. So Brad's done a really good job. I thought they're going to have a great year. I think they'll be very competitive for the OVC crown.
That is Josh Schertz talking about the first opponent of the season, Southeast Missouri State. SLU beat them by 25, 92-67. And to his point, they gave Mizzou a game in their next contest in Columbia on Friday. 89-84, the Tigers had to squeak one out. Another in-state opponent visits Chaffetz Arena tonight. It's SLU and Lindenwood. We'll have that for you at 7 o'clock with the pregame at 6:45. The Tigers, meanwhile, came back and blasted VMI yesterday. 106-68 was the final in that one. Mizzou is 3-0 on the season. Illinois State beat Cornell 76-65. Also playing tonight, SIUE. They have a home game against Indiana State. That's a good one. 6 o'clock tip-off in Edwardsville, and SLU will play Lindenwood, as I mentioned, at 7 o'clock. On the women's side, Rebecca Tillett's team got a victory yesterday. SLU beat Northern Iowa 62-58. Billikens get their first win of the season. Illinois beat Illinois State in women's hoops 75-65. College football's top 25 is out, although the college football playoff rankings really what matters at this point. But the AP gives you a bit of a guide as to what could happen. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia are the top 5 unchanged. Ole Miss, Oregon, Texas Tech at 8. Notre Dame moves up to 9. Texas and Oklahoma 10 and 11. And BYU is currently 12th in the AP poll after losing to Texas Tech over the weekend. They don't get penalized too much there, but the Big 12 can only get so much in with the Big 10 and the SEC dominating that college football playoff ranking thus far. You have to have an ACC team in there, and you have to have a group of 5 team in there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the committee does coming up on Tuesday night. In the NFL yesterday, it was a win for the Los Angeles Chargers. They beat Pittsburgh 25-10 Sunday Night Football. The afternoon games were all blowouts. Seattle 44-22 over Arizona. Rams beat San Francisco 42-26, and Detroit beat Washington 44-22. Some close shaves in the noon games, including Chicago beating the Giants 24-20. But Miami beats down Buffalo, surprisingly, 30-13. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
1965 was a year of progress in St. Louis.
There when St. Louis celebrated.
It would stand higher than any monument in the land.
What's that? Alarm whistle. I don't know. Same folks, I guess, celebrate.
Finally, 32 years after Luther Ely Smith began forming an image of a revitalized St. Louis riverfront, the Gateway Arch was complete.
And atop the final section, a big American flag blowing freely in a brisk wind.
It represents a very important part of our national history.
It's a new era for St. Louis, and millions of people will be coming to view this engineering and architectural wonder.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Competitive rates to help you save more and borrow smarter. Visit togethercu.org.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett with Washington University School of Medicine and Siteman Cancer Center. Mammograms, when should people get them? How often should they get them?
People should start getting mammograms at least by age 40. If you don't have a significant family history of breast cancer, then we recommend that you start at 40, and we recommend that you get them every year to give yourself the best chance of finding a breast cancer as early as possible.
What would you say to someone who is nervous to get their mammogram?
Well, that would be everybody. So what I would tell them is that they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for their families, for their kids. The reason we do mammograms is, as I said, to find cancers as early as possible. If we can find them as early as possible, they're very treatable.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they're working the crash on westbound 70 at 170. This traffic reports the service of Valvoline Instant Oil Change, and it looks like the right lanes are the ones getting by. The left lane, or maybe two left lanes, are blocked. Again, it's sort of hard to tell from my vantage point, but I can see a car sideways into the guardrail there. It's a little more of a jam westbound 70. I'd still call it west of Hanley, though, to the Interbelt, so it's not much of a jam, but there is a little bit of one if you're coming from the east side headed toward Lambert. Just be advised that'll hold you up a few minutes. Get through that traffic. Just stick to the right-hand side as you approach that scene. Other than that, the rest of these highways are great. That crash that they moved is at southbound 141. It's on the Ladue exit ramp, so that's why I'm not seeing any delays on 141 itself coming down from Olive. It looks good. We had that crash westbound 44 west of 109. That one was on the shoulder. Just a little bit busy right around Weber Road on North 55, but it looks good down in Festus and downtown. We're still in good shape, headed for the Poplar and Mutual Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
Sounds like your sleigh's about to get prepped for the season. At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we don't just change your oil. We also check your tire pressure, battery, wipers, and lights. Just stay cozy in your car and let our trained pros handle the rest. No appointment needed.
Weather today is going to be cold. You can feel it already, blustery and cold. It's been freezing overnight. High of 39, but real field temperatures will be in the 20s. Tonight we get back down into the 20s, but for the rest of the week we warm up. 56 with sun on Veterans Day, Wednesday 64, Thursday 65, Friday 75 degrees. Currently, it's cold out there. 25 feels like 11 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. The Senate voted on a temporary government spending deal that would end the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, although not all Democrats are on board.
14 times the Senate had failed to pass a procedural vote on a House-passed continuing resolution. But late last night, 5 additional Democratic senators joined 55 others to clear the 60-vote threshold, ending a filibuster. The deal would extend the continuing resolution until late January and includes 3 full-year appropriations bills that would fully fund SNAP and WIC benefits, pay the military, and reverse some of the mass firings that went into effect on October 1st. Democratic Senator Jean Shaheen said it was time to reach a compromise.
When I talk to my constituents in New Hampshire, you know what they say to me? They say, why can't you all just work together to address the problems that are facing this country? We put the Senate back on a path to start doing that today.
The deal had the full backing of Republican Senate Majority Leader John Thune.
Mr. President, again, I'm optimistic that after almost 6 weeks of this shutdown, we'll finally be able to end it.
The deal also came with a promise from Senator Thune that Republicans would bring to the floor a bill that would address the increase in the Affordable Care Act subsidies that have been at the center of the Democrats' opposition. However, House Republicans have refused to do the same so far. Senator Bernie Sanders accuses his more centrist colleagues of folding.
What this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse.
Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer was not among the Democrats who voted yes.
This healthcare crisis is so severe, so urgent, so devastating for families back home that I cannot in good faith support this CR.
Republicans needed 5 Democrats to cross the aisle. On this vote, Shaheen, Jackie Rosen, Tim Kaine, Maggie Hassan, and Angus King all changed their votes. King said their previous strategy wasn't working.
How long would it take to not get a response to say it isn't working? In other words, it's been 6 weeks.
The shutdown is not officially over yet. Last night's vote cleared an important procedural hurdle, but a vote on the bill itself will likely come in the Senate later today. The House will likely take it up at some point this week. John Stolness, Washington.
President Trump is promising tariff dividend payments to Americans. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports Trump's Treasury Secretary had a different spin on the president's plan.
President Trump posted on social media over the weekend that all Americans, except for the high-income population, will receive at least $2,000 dividend payments from U.S. tariff revenues. The post came just days after the U.S. Supreme Court voiced concerns about the legality of Trump imposing tariffs without congressional approval. What exactly the payments will look like is not clear yet.
The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms and lots of ways.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent spoke about the president's dividend promise with ABC's This Week.
It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions.
In his social media post announcing the dividend payments, President Trump said that America is the most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market price. He said the country's taking in trillions of dollars from tariffs that he said will soon help the U.S. begin to pay down $37 trillion in debt. Trump also said those who don't support tariffs are, quote, fools. I'm Clayton Neville.
Chicagoans met up yesterday to help sound the alarm on ICE agents in their neighborhood. We get more from Mallory Vorbroker in Chicago.
Indivisible Chicago Northwest hosted a Pack and Protect party at Foxtrot in Wicker Park to assemble whistle kits to be used to alert residents when immigration agents are nearby. Shelley is one of several dozen volunteers helping to pack a whistle, know your rights printout, and instructions on how to use the whistle into a plastic bag.
I came here because I'm worried about my family members, some of whom are not from the U.S., and my wonderful neighbors and strangers that I don't know. I'm just worried sick.
Tim Carroll of Barrington says he's planning a similar event in the suburbs.
Whistlemania was today, and there was probably about 40 volunteers who showed up to make packets. We went through everything that we had in about 45 minutes.
The kits will be donated to organizers of school watch patrols across the Northwest side.
It's 6:27, time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Want to direct you to bannerconstruction.com to see for yourself. Take some time and visit it when you can. It is a free in-home consultation from Banner Construction, a design team that will show you creative options to enhance your home's new restoration. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to easily add unique architectural accents to transform your home into the best-looking home in the neighborhood. Not to mention that weather like this, Mother Nature constantly assaults the exterior of your home, especially in St. Louis. And that's why Banner is dedicated to pairing high-end products with high-end craftsmanship. An elite preferred James Hardy contractor, a certified Pella Window specialist. They have been doing this since 1993 in St. Louis. Few companies since then have been able to match Banner's experience and dedication to excellence. Home restoration has many choices, but the biggest choice is, who do you trust with your most valuable asset, your home? That answer is Banner Construction. BannerConstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
If you or someone you know suffered any injuries involving a deployed airbag, you could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan has already recovered millions. Get America's largest injury law firm fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It is 6:30, and right now we have mostly clear skies, 25 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working with a crash, folks. Westbound 70 at 170. The two left lanes are blocked there. Westbound 70 still jammed. About midway between Hanley and that point, so it's still not extensive. But if you are coming from the east side headed to the airport, that will hold you up just a bit. Again, just stick to the right-hand side because the left lanes are closed. A little more volume out there in other places like northbound 55. It's bogged down from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. North 270 a little busier now. Up the hill from Doherty Ferry through Manchester. Southbound 61 approaching Wentzville Parkway down to 64 is a little slow. But once you get to 64 or 70, you got a good run going across the Missouri River bridges. And downtown, we look good westbound across the Poplar and Mutual Veterans bridges. No delays through there as of yet. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be cold, but warming up as we head through the week. So today is the most blustery day of this forecast. It's going to be mostly sunny, though, with a high of 39 degrees. But with the wind, it's going to feel all day like it's mostly in the 20s. Then tomorrow, warming up to 56 degrees, 64 by Wednesday, 65 Thursday, 75 by Friday. So we'll just get through the day bundled up. It's 25 degrees.
Decades after the Vietnam War concluded, many veterans are still struggling to obtain their earned benefits. Brett Buchanan, director at ALSUP, a nationwide advocate for disability benefits, works to help veterans from Vietnam navigate the complex application process.
Buchanan, an Army veteran and stationed in Germany, deployed in Operation Iraqi Freedom, where he supervised the security of U.S. Department of Defense officials visiting Baghdad, Iraq, and earned a Bronze Star for combat operations. Now his job is to help his fellow vets.
The Congress expanded the benefit system with the PACT Act in 2022, and that still puts a bit of a strain on the system because some of the rules have changed and have expanded some of the eligibility for certain diseases to make it easier for certain diseases that are associated with different exposures to be granted. But that also adds a little bit of a layer of complexity with the VA. And so sometimes we'll see mistakes on our end, or the veteran didn't know what information to really provide the VA to make an accurate decision.
And Buchanan says the VA can make those mistakes because it's a complex benefit system.
The veteran's trying to show what they have today is related to service. That's a pretty big medical determination that requires a lot of different information from different sources.
Buchanan tells KMOX veterans do not know what to bring to the table, and that's where ALSUP intervenes. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The Board of Aldermen quickly advancing millions in funding to address homelessness ahead of winter. With added need from tornado victims, is there enough housing capacity?
There could be thousands more people living outside of a home that has been condemned or in one that cannot be safely heated. While much of the $13 million the board is fast-tracking is meant to expand shelter capacity, where will it be? I asked if vacant buildings such as AT&T Tower or the Municipal Court building are being considered. Alderwoman Alicia Saulnier's answer wasn't no.
I think the city is currently looking at places to put folks.
Saulnier stresses it is more complex than just finding space, saying a variety of housing will be needed to address a variety of needs.
We don't treat these two different groups like they are the same groups and have the exact same need, that we also don't put too many folks and concentrate them in one place because that can create issues.
The bills go to a final vote next week. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. This holiday season, you can be the reason children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach milestones once thought impossible. Your gift provides life-saving care to those who need it most. Please donate today at treeofhope.org and be the reason a child has hope for tomorrow.
6:35 and time for your money report. It is sponsored for you by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Markets warming up to the idea of a potential breakthrough to end the government shutdown. The optimistic tone offering relief after a volatile week when worries over stretched valuations fueled a sharp sell-off in technology stocks. The odds of extreme cold this winter climbing as a weakening polar vortex may unleash Arctic air, and commodity traders are warning that's going to lead to higher power and natural gas prices. Apple is planning a series of upgrades to the satellite features on its iPhones and smartwatches. In 2023, it added roadside assistance for stranded drivers, and more recently, it enabled users to send and receive text messages without cellular service. Predator Badlands pulled in a franchise best $40 million over the weekend. That's pumping life into a sluggish domestic box office. The 20th Century and Disney reboot continues to make money overseas, earning another $40 million for a global take of $80 million. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, by the way, the Musial Awards are coming to Stiefel Theater on Saturday, November 22nd. So not this weekend, but next weekend. If you've never been, it is an amazing evening. Of course, it is recorded and it is going to be broadcast live at the end of December on CBS and Paramount Plus. Christy Yamaguchi is getting the big award this year. If you don't have tickets yet, there are some tickets still available, and we have your chance to win a pair of tickets coming up after Tom's next sportscast. So keep listening to win.
Chesterfield Valley Nursery invites you to make your own live holiday decor this year in our Winter Planter class happening on November 22nd. Sign up today on our website or Facebook. Learn how to put together a live evergreen porch planter. Registration required. Spots fill up fast. Visit ChesterfieldValleyNursery.com. That's November 22nd. ChesterfieldValleyNursery.com to register.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. In September, House Republicans passed a bill to keep the government open by extending funding at current levels. Now Washington liberals are holding the American people hostage. They shut down your government and are demanding Medicaid for illegal aliens and funding for woke projects, which would cost taxpayers $1.5 trillion. Now federal workers are missing paychecks. That's unacceptable. Throughout the shutdown, our offices will remain open to help you, our constituents. Go to onder.house.gov to find the office closest to you.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives. You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. One day, you're under a thunderstorm warning. The next, it's an ice storm. Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports, here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. The KMOX Storm Center, sponsored by
Saliga Heating and Cooling.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
The countdown to kickoff starts here. Friday's focus on Mizzou, the Chiefs, and the NFL. Only on KMOX.
It's 6:40. Let's check in with Roger Brand, see what's going on out there. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news for westbound 70 drivers, Tom. This traffic reports the service of Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. They just cleared the crash about 2 minutes ago, westbound 70 at the Interbelt, so lanes are open. Westbound 70 at 170, though, still a backup midway between Hanley and the Interbelt, but it'll thin out pretty quickly since it's westbound. Not a lot of rush hour flow going that way this time of day. Other places are a little busy. Northbound 55, a little bit of a backup, bunching up just north of the Union Road overpass most of the way up to River to Pear. Northbound 270, let's call it Big Bend to Manchester and Clayton Road up to Ladue. It's slow through those areas. Eastbound 30, Mauer to 270, kind of slow. Northbound Tesson Ferry, a little slow at Butler Hill, and a little backup approaching Mattis after that. Just getting through those lights at those places. Southbound 61 from Highway P down onto 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. That's all at a slower pace now for you as well. 55 looks good down in Festus, and on the Illinois side, we're still in good shape. No delays westbound across the Poplar or Mutual Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
6:41, and it's time for us to get a look at the forecast as we head through this week. I see a few more clouds moving into downtown St. Louis. And today's going to be, in your words, Joe Lundberg, blustery.
Yes. I mean, it's just the wind is going to be a big factor in driving this Arctic air into the area. And temperatures that are in the 20s right now, with real field temperatures, the teens are only going to get to 39 despite sunshine and that blustery condition, that gusty wind. Overnight tonight, those winds will thankfully abate. Clear skies early, some clouds late. We'll get down to 22, though, in the coldest outlying areas, about 27 downtown at the Arch. Then it's all up from there. Veterans Day, partly sunny, breezy. We warm to 56. More sunshine Wednesday, a breezy day, the high 64. Partly sunny Thursday, 65. And we'll get into the 70s with sunshine to end the week on Friday. Right now, 27 at St. Peter's and in Florissant. Partly cloudy, 29 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:42. The Senate may have taken the first step toward ending the government shutdown, but airport delays and cancellations keep piling up. Over the weekend, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned that air travel over the next 2 weeks would have slowed to a trickle without a resolution. CBS reporter Da Lin says the shutout isn't the only thing on the minds of travelers.
The Edelman family is riding out a 2-hour delay at SFO, hoping to get home to New Jersey.
We're not going to be home until well after midnight, which, for the kids is going to be a tough turnaround for school in the morning.
Our son is going to be graduating high school, so we're visiting colleges out in California. That trip would have been postponed.
Helicopter 778. They're worried about safety, especially as air traffic controllers work under the stress of no pay and mandatory overtime.
958 will be ready for departure 1 left. If we had to plan it all over again, knowing that you have the staffing shortages that are in effect now, I think we would have absolutely delayed this trip and planned it for a different time.
They're not alone. This delayed passenger from Arizona says he would have canceled his trip had he known.
I'm a nervous flyer, so I hope they're doing what they need to do to keep us safe. I assume they are. I do know a lot of people are working without getting paid.
But many aviation experts say even with the distractions controllers are facing, it remains safe to fly.
I would fly personally. I would not be afraid to fly. I'm confident that the workforce is dedicated and that they know when to say uncle when the traffic gets too heavy for them.
Harvey Skolnick is a retired air traffic controller of 38 years. He says, yes, it's tough to focus when controllers worry about mortgages or picking up second jobs, especially with the Bay Area's high cost of living. But he stresses the men and women in the towers are highly trained professionals.
When I had emotional factors that were affecting my life, when I sat down with that radar scope and I plugged in and I said, turn right heading 130, climb and maintain 5,000, that's all I thought of.
If you didn't have to fly, maybe it's a better time not to fly right now.
Julie Gainsley is a retired flight attendant of 48 years. She now works as an airport concierge at SFO.
I would choose not to fly at this time, not so much because it's not safe, but because it's a hassle. It's long lines, canceled flights, not getting you where you really want to go on time.
Even though she had a few close calls in her career, Julie believes flying is still the safest way to travel. But it's a tough sell for the Edelman family and others seeing staffing shortages growing across the country.
Who wants to bring their family aboard a plane when you don't know that you have the absolute ideal conditions?
It is now 6:45. It's time to talk a little baseball. We haven't done that in about an hour, so let's get back to Chaim Bloom. There are some big names on this Cardinals roster right now. The question is, are they going to stay on it? Sonny Gray, Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras. They could accept a trade. We'll see what happens, what transpires here over the next month, maybe 2 months. Chaim Bloom, the president of baseball operations, answering my question about what he can tell us about those three on Sports on a Sunday Morning.
Could pretty much just echo what each of those guys said to our media that last weekend in Chicago, and appreciate that they were willing to be candid. I had great conversations with all three of them as we got towards the end of the season, and each of their situations is a little bit different, but nothing's really changed from what they talked about at that time. They're all different situations individually, and can certainly rehash those if you'd like, but it's too early in the off season for anything to have changed there. I've just been trying to stay in touch with each of them and the folks that rep them and just make sure we're all on the same page as we go through this.
The priority remains pitching. Bloom telling us controllable starting pitching would be the main goal if they could acquire that via trade. Free agency is a different animal, although they will be looking around to see who might be available, perhaps a reclamation project, not using his words but mine, somebody who could come in and have a new path in their career here in St. Louis. As for the Billikens, so far they're 2-0, and their path finds them at home taking on Lindenwood University. That's the game tonight after the Billikens' defensive effort irritated Josh Schertz, the head coach. I asked him how practice went Saturday.
Yeah, I think we didn't go super long. It was more of the film, and I think, my frustration, if you look at, I know people get caught up, and I understand why. It's just the way people's mind works, like 86 points. And, I'll say this, I only worry about, points only matter in terms of possessions played, right? Mm-hmm. If you play a game and you give up 65 points, but you played the game, you only were on defense 60 possessions, to me, that's a much worse defensive effort than if you gave up 75 points in a game where there was 85 possessions, right? It's only points per possession that matter. So the more possessions, you're looking at points per possession. And so, the first 32 and a half minutes, we were well below 1 point of possession, which if you're about 0.9 points of possession, you're going to win about 95% of the time in college basketball.
And offensively, they are at 200 points total through their first two games, averaging 100 a game. Missouri won yesterday, beating VMI 106-68. Illinois State topped Cornell 76-65. SIUE also plays tonight at home against Indiana State. They tip at 6, and at Chaffetz Slough and Lindenwood at 7. Lenny Wilkins has died at the age of 88. Legendary coach, coached more games than anyone in history, also was a tremendous point guard, played for the St. Louis Hawks among his stops, 3-time inductee into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue has died at the age of 84. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This fall, get a taste of what's to come at Dragonstone, an exclusive new Lombardo Homes community in Darden Prairie, west of Highway K and south of 364. Join us Saturday, November 15th at our Inverness display in O'Fallon for a grand opening celebration filled with treats, a cozy coffee bar, mini pumpkin pies, and a first look. Dragonstone, building Tradition Series homes and offering only 5 spacious home sites. Dragonstone offers luxury and privacy, as well as the convenience of living just minutes from highways 364 and 64. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
This is Justin Brown with Prince Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. As retirement approaches, one question matters most. How will you replace your paycheck? With decades of experience, we've helped retirees turn uncertainty into clarity through personalized income planning and steady guidance. Our proactive strategies are designed so you can enjoy the retirement you worked your lifetime for, with clarity, confidence, and peace of mind. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services. Member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Help KMOX make the holiday season brighter for St. Louis area children by supporting TSO Tuesdays, benefiting Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. On Tuesdays, Sugar Fire will donate a portion of their TSO Tuesday special to Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. Get your tickets today for this holiday tradition. All you need to know at KMOX.com.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
The Musial Awards are coming up on the 22nd of November. This is an event. It's not just a show or an award show. It is a major event that is being filmed for national broadcast later in the year. Anyway, if you would like to go to the Musial Awards this year, be our 5th caller right now at 314-955-1120, 314-955-1120. It's at Stiefel Theater on November 22nd. You got to dress up. It's a red carpet event. Good luck on getting those tickets.
Roger Brand, you're in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it doesn't look bad out there right now, Tom. This traffic report service at Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Maybe folks are making a long weekend out of it since tomorrow's a holiday, Veterans Day. But right now, northbound 55, you just have a little bit of a slowdown. Bayless up to Weber, and then Loughborough, Holly Hills is a couple spots where it's a little busy. Westbound 70, by the way, is completely thinned out through 170 where we had that earlier crash. Eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis to Bryan Road's a little slow. Southbound 61 slowed down from P Midway down to Wensville Parkway and south of the Parkway onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. A little busy, but again, really not all that bad. North 270, Big Bend to Manchester. South 270 just through the Ladue construction zone, a little heavy. Still no delays across the bridges downtown. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It is going to be a chilly day today, blustery, as our AccuWeather meteorologist says, but it's going to be sunny with a high of 39. It's going to feel like it's in the 20s most of the day. But this is the coldest day of this 5-day forecast. It warms up to the mid-70s by Friday. Tomorrow, it'll be Veterans Day, partly sunny, breezy, and 56. It's 25 out there right now.
The U.S. Senate is well on its way to ending the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history.
The yeas are 60 and the nays are 40.
Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn cast the 60th vote needed to advance the bill. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said Republicans heard Democratic concerns about expiring health care tax subsidies under the Affordable Care Act.
We have senators, both Democrat and Republican, who are eager to get to work to address that crisis.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer was far from convinced.
I cannot in good faith
support this CR.
The CR, or continuing resolution, would fund the federal government through January. Final passage in the Senate is still to come, and then it's on to the House. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
The House has yet to vote on the Senate's approval of funding the government. Missouri Congressman Wesley Bell says his constituents cannot go without health care.
Working class families are going to see premiums increase by 75%. Out-of-pocket costs will double. And when we look at the cost of living right now, we look at the cost of hamburger and fries, it is astronomical, the cost that we're seeing.
Bell tells MissouriNet he'll continue working across the aisle, but adds Democrats remained in D.C. while the president and House Speaker Johnson left Washington.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
I'm leaving time for birthdays because I got some big ones. I mean, big ones. Let me start with 10-year-old, big-time KMOX listener, tremendous baseball player, number 15, Phil Ross. Happy birthday, Phil. You share a birthday, sir, with this individual.
Warner, the quarterback, fires up the middle. The pass is caught to Isaac.
Isaac Bruce is celebrating a birthday today. That touchdown, listen to that crowd at the Dome. First playoff game at home in St. Louis history as the Rams rolled the Vikings. Isaac Bruce is 53 today, only to be topped by, I don't know about topped by, but this is a tremendous moment in KMOX history. Take a listen to this.
Clark, a chance to redeem himself after striking out in the seventh. The Dodger right-hander is set, and here's his pitch to Jack Clark. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's a winner. A three-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks.
1985 NLCS, Jack Clark with the home run. The Cardinals did go to the World Series. Can you believe it? Jack Clark is 70 today.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. I may have missed this one on Friday, and if so, I apologize. Marianne Helm, happy birthday from the Church Chicks. Rich Winkler of South County is celebrating. Carol Jenkins, happy 83rd from Lisa, Michelle, Tim, and the family. Happy birthday wishes going out to Mike Colleen, and congratulations to Brett from St. Louis.
This is the best birthday ever.
Sorry, he won those tickets.
Oh, okay. I don't know where that came from. It just fired out of nowhere. I didn't touch it. I did not touch it.
Okay, I believe you.
The Missouri Athletic Club. Let's talk about them for a moment. The mac-stl.org is their website. But all you really need to know is December 8th, KMOX. You talk about a couple of hours of the Missouri Athletic Club on our radio station. We're going to have a great time with it. The Jack Buck Awards are December 8th. And we are going to have, I don't want to announce the recipients yet. I want to let the club do that. But I can just tell you that the list of winners is a really good one this year. It touches all sports. That's a clue. So we have baseball, basketball, football, soccer, and hockey all represented. But I'm not going to tell you where or how that's shuffled around. But it's going to be sold out. It's going to be at the Missouri Room. It's going to be a tremendous night, December 8th at the Missouri Athletic Club. The best sports banquet that there is. One of the longest running, I could say that. 1970 is when Jack Buck started it. The Jack Buck Sports Awards used to be called the Sports Personality of the Year Dinner. When Mr. Buck passed away in 2002, we renamed the dinner. The Jack Buck Sports Awards, the Missouri Athletic Club, live on KMOX December 8th. Right here on the home of the Cardinals.
Cold weather is coming, and heatupstlouis.org needs your help now. Your dollars can help keep the heat on for Missouri and Illinois veterans and families struggling with high utility bills. Donate today at heatupstlouis.org or drop a check to Heat Up St. Louis at any area Commerce Bank.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh.
Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, if you're traveling up northbound 55, you're just a little slow at 67 in Festus. It's thinned out, actually, north of Bayless right now. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up through Manchester. The right lane's a little busy around Clayton Road, but up through the Ledoux Construction Zone, north and south 270 right now are doing all right. Eastbound Highway 70, you've got some slow traffic east of A through Lake St. Louis Boulevard to about Bryan Road, and then it's a little slow again. Earth City into 270, so be careful. It could be have a minor trouble there. We've thinned out on southbound 61 at Highway P. There's still delays. Wentzville Parkway down through 64 and Prospect, but after that, you open up in downtown. Everything continues to roll along. It still looks great. Westbound 55, 70, and 64, no delays across the Poplar Musial Veterans Bridges. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. It could be a big step forward in ending the government shutdown. 7 Democrats and an independent crossed party lines last night to advance legislation that would end the shutdown. Among them, Jean Shaheen.
Waiting another week or another month wouldn't deliver a better outcome. It would only mean more harm for families in New Hampshire and all across the country.
Correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is on Capitol Hill.
The move came after a busy weekend of negotiations over a final deal that would fund the government through January 30th, reverse the layoffs of federal workers during the shutdown, and guarantee back pay. It also includes 3 longer-term funding bills, including additional money for SNAP or food assistance benefits. But it does not include an extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies.
A federal appeals court ruled last night the administration must fully fund SNAP benefits within the next 48 hours. Only the Supreme Court could reverse the order. Shutdown-related flight delays and cancellations in the U.S. almost at 2,700 this morning. CBS's Chris Van Cleve says more service reductions are kicking in.
Airlines will again cancel 4% of flights to those 40 airports today. That'll climb to 6% Tuesday and hit 1 in 10 flights by Friday.
This morning, the administration announced the president has pardoned dozens of people involved in the effort to overturn the 2020 election results. Correspondent Nancy Cordes is at the White House.
Among those receiving a, quote, full, complete, and unconditional pardon, the former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, John Eastman, along with Trump's advisor, longtime advisor, Boris Epstein, and his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows. They are on the list, too.
Breaking news from France.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. A Paris court has just ruled that former French President Nicolas Sarkozy will be released from prison under, quote, judicial supervision, which could mean house arrest. In his appeal to the court, Sarkozy called his imprisonment a nightmare. Now that nightmare is ending. He'll be released from jail pending his appeal of his conviction for seeking illegal Libyan funding for his campaign.
A lot of people were shopping online last month. By Adobe Analytics count, consumers spent more than $88 billion. That's an increase of more than 18% over last year. The company's Vivek Pandya credits early holiday shopping.
You really have consumers taking advantage of some of these early deals entering into October, and that's really showing that consumers are trying to manage their budgets.
Dow futures are up 169. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
It is 7:04, and right now we've got mostly sunny skies and 26 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Peabody Energy moving to St. Louis County. The city loses another corporate headquarters. What now?
KMOX took that question to Mayor Slay's longtime former chief of staff, Jeff Rainford.
We are way past anything that can just be, let's put on some kabuki theater.
He says there needs to be a massive effort to make downtown unquestionably safe and change the perception, even if that lags behind the stats. And he says it can't be a reheating of hotspot policing.
So when we were in office, we would do surges, and the surges would work while you did the surge. But 6 months after the surge was over, things would pretty much go to normal. What downtown needs is something permanent.
Rainford says even Brian Williams, running for county executive, says this can't be a strong region without a strong downtown. Everybody, Rainford says, needs to cooperate on a level this region and state hasn't seen before.
It's got to stick.
On the good side, Rainford says a further plummet could make downtown real estate cheaper, and he says it does not appear that the county attempted to poach this HQ from the city. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The first vertical construction is officially moving forward at the planned Gateway South District in downtown St. Louis along the riverfront. Construction Forum reports developers are starting pre-construction on a 54,000 square foot speculative industrial building. This is the first project to get a formal construction timeline within the 100-acre master plan. This is on the South Riverfront by the Arch. The building, located at 1120 South 2nd Street, is expected to be delivered in late 2026.
Not a warm reception for a St. Louis alderwoman at the most recent board meeting.
The 12th Ward's Sharon Tyus blamed crime in her neighborhood on Palestinian gas station owners.
The people who are creating the most terror are the Palestinians who run the gas stations and are having shootings and killings. So it's hard.
Despite that reaction, Tyus kept going.
And the people saying, well, I got to make a living. But you think you have to make a living at the expense of me having to drive through a shooting gallery.
Fellow Alderman Rasheen Aldridge defended the local Palestinian community.
They own more than gas stations. They own various businesses that is part of the fabric of diversity that we need, not only throughout St. Louis, but throughout the whole United States.
A nonprofit called Breaking Generational Poverty has been working with gas station owners to reduce violence. Board member Bryson Banks explained to Fox 2.
They are as much, if not more so, on the train of advocating for peace in the community.
He called Tyus's comments divisive and irresponsible. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
After fast-tracking additional funding for the Impacted Tenants Fund and to increase shelter capacity, questions remain about how quickly it will get out the door.
Aldermanic President Megan Green says they are hopeful the money will be dispersed in the early days of December. However, the Impacted Tenants Fund still doesn't even have an application process for residents to fill out. While some aldermen point to FEMA providing the same service, forcing them to press pause and avoid duplicating efforts, Alderwoman Shamim Clark-Hubbard gives a fiery pushback against others she says are slowing down the process.
I am so frustrated with people that are in positions that don't either have a heart to make these decisions, or we are dealing with an analysis paralysis or a very sad case of judgment calling on their behalf that have the positioning and the authority to make this stuff happen.
Clark-Hubbard would not name names, but infers it is one or two people causing delays. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Dobbs Tire and Auto continues to grow. The chain, based in High Ridge, has opened new locations and made several acquisitions, bringing the number of Dobbs locations to 130 in 8 states. Dobbs acquired automotive chains based in Longview, Texas, Cleveland, Ohio, and Columbia, Missouri. New locations are also opening in Warrenton, Arnold, and Highland, Illinois, according to the Business Journal. Dobbs Tire and Auto has more than 1,200 employees and generated $160 million in revenue in fiscal 2023.
It is 7:08. We'll get you traffic and weather, and then more on the government shutdown and what's going on at Lambert.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. Cozy up to the goodness of the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardie can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardie and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Here's Roger Brand at 710, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're really doing pretty well out there right now, Tom. Into a little bit of a lull. There's a few slowdowns, but all in all, pretty good run. Northbound 55, just a little slow in the work zone at 67. It looks great. North of Bayless up to River to Pear. Northbound bound 55 is a ramp onto North 270. That ramp just a little slow once you get onto North 270. Oh, the right lanes may be approaching Clayton Road up through 64 into the construction zone are a little heavy. Southbound's just a little slow at 64. So, again, not bad there. The bulk of the volume out west, and even that's not bad, but southbound 61 slows north of Wentzville Parkway onto 64 up to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. But after that, it opens up and it runs great. Eastbound 70's thinned out. There are no longer any delays coming in from Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges in downtown. Westbound 55, 70, and 64 have good runs going across the Poplar. Just a little heads up. They're going to be shutting down Highway F this morning at 8 a.m., 8 to 6 today. They're scheduled to have it closed between Ridge Trail and Centennial Farm Drive. They're going to have a pilot car take you through the area one direction at a time, so just be advised of that. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather turning out mainly sunny today, blustery and cold, high just 39 with AccuWeather real field temperatures mainly in the 20s. Clear early tonight with a diminishing wind, then some clouds and cold late tonight. Will drop to 22 in the coldest outlying areas to 27 downtown at the Arch. For Veterans Day, partly sunny, breezy, and milder in the afternoon, high 56. Wednesday, a nice day with sunshine, a bit breezy at times, high 64. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got sunshine with some clouds in downtown St. Louis, 26 degrees.
Democrat and independent senators have joined with Republicans to vote to advance legislation to fund the government. Democrats are criticizing their decision since it does not include an extension of health care subsidies, only a promise of a vote on the issue next month. Meanwhile, while the government shutdown continues, travelers are facing issues at airports.
Almost 3,000 flights canceled on Sunday, more than 10,000 delayed. The FAA called for a reduction in flights to reduce the strain on air traffic controllers who have been working without pay. CBS's Chris Van Cleve is reporting from Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport.
Atlanta, the world's busiest airport, saw nearly 500 cancellations Sunday after just 4 of the 22 air traffic controllers scheduled showed up to work Saturday. The average delay hit nearly 5 hours. Dallas, Fort Myers, Florida, and all 3 of the New York City area airports were hit with staffing delays Sunday.
Family of 4 here, 4 kids. We were forced to kind of sleep in the airport.
Controllers are poised to miss a second paycheck this week due to the government shutdown.
While not on the scale as some of the major airports, Lambert Airport has had several delays and cancellations. This passenger, Raquel Darris, told our partners at Fox 2.
Our initial flight out of Burbank was going to be delayed, and that cascaded into us missing our connection in Vegas. So then we were like, all right, new game plan. Let's try going to St. Louis, and from St. Louis, we'll get to Columbus. Same thing happened. We got on the plane. We were sitting there for a while. There was a lot of people with connections on our flight.
On Sunday, the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, warned the delays and cancellations would get worse if the government shutdown continued.
U.S. senators hope to come to a bipartisan resolution to reopen the government. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin says Tuesday's election results were overwhelmingly in favor of Democrats.
In fact, in one candid moment, President Trump conceded that the shutdown cost him many votes across the board. He's right.
Durbin says the American people have come to understand what this government shutdown is about.
It's about their bottom line, their home budget, their health care, their insurance cost.
Durbin crossed party lines last night, making him one of 8 senators who voted to extend government funding.
Overseas, the BBC's Director General and its head of news is in a shock resignation.
The final straw was a Donald Trump soundbite the producers edited in a way that made it sound as if he was explicitly inciting violence on January 6th. But managers of the broadcaster had also been fending off allegations of bias in its coverage of Gaza and trans issues. Former Daily Telegraph editor Charles Moore says a clean sweep is needed at the top.
It should take impartiality seriously and put in people capable of running this gigantic and self-satisfied bureaucracy.
The outgoing head of news denying those allegations of bias. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Well, a lot of stuff going on, that's for sure. Let's start with the Billikens playing tonight. They take on Lindenwood. We'll have the game for you on KMOX. It begins at 7 o'clock with a 6:45 pregame. The Billikens are 2-0. They defeated SEMO in their first game by 25 points and then a 22-point win over Chicago State, 108-86 in their second game. In fact, the Billikens are averaging 100 points per game. They've scored 200 points in 2 games, but Coach Josh Schertz would like to see them tighten things up defensively. Now, if you're looking at SLU and Mizzou by comparison, common opponent, SLU beat SEMO by 25 and Missouri beat them by only 5. But yesterday looked like Mizzou woke up. They hammered Virginia Military, VMI, 106-68. In Columbia. Illinois State beat Cornell 76-65. There's another good game locally tonight. SIUE will be taking on Indiana State. That one tips off at 6 o'clock in Edwardsville, and then the Lindenwood SLU game is at 7 o'clock. College basketball on the women's side, Rebecca Tillett's team picked up a victory yesterday. Their first win of the year. They beat Northern Iowa at Chaffetz Arena 62-58. Illinois topped Illinois State 75-65. The Blues don't play until tomorrow. They'll be taking on the Calgary Flames, and that one at Enterprise Center gets going at 7 o'clock. The Blues need to pick it up and need to pick it up pronto. They are in last place in the Central Division with 13 points, looking up at Nashville, second to last, and Colorado finally winning a game in overtime. They had 5 overtime losses heading into yesterday. They picked up a win. They have 25 points to lead the Central. In the NFL, the league is mourning the loss of Commissioner Paul Tagliabue. He has passed away at the age of 84. Some of the games yesterday, the Sunday nighter, Aaron Rodgers really struggled against the Chargers, losing in L.A. 25-10. The L.A. Rams beat San Francisco 42-26. Detroit doubled up Washington 44-22. And Seattle, really good team also in the NFC, won by the same score over Arizona 44-22. Among the noon games, Chicago topped the Giants 24-20. Miami surprised Buffalo 30-13. Baltimore over Minnesota 27-19. Jets beat Cleveland 27-20. Good game between New England and Tampa Bay on KMOX. Patriots have won 7 in a row, beating the Bucs on the road 28-23. New Orleans topped Carolina 17-7, and Houston beat Jacksonville 36-29. In Berlin, it was Indianapolis, an overtime win over Atlanta 31-25. College football playoff rankings come out tomorrow, as the AP top 25 was yesterday, and the top 5 remain unchanged. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Monday night game, by the way, is a good one. Joe Buck's got a good one to call on ESPN, Philadelphia and Green Bay. This is the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would it leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection on the drivetrain, AC, and more. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call 800-298-9302. 800-298-9302.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's a sunny morning. I see the sunshine glinting off the windows of this building across the way right into my eyes into Studio B. That's okay, though. Just grab your sunglasses as you head out the door. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, sun's not doing enough to warm it up, though. Unfortunately, it's pretty chilly out there. I was just outside a moment ago. If you're on the highways, though, they're looking good. Future's bright, I guess we could say. Northbound 55 just a little slow as you head into 67. After that, there's a little bit of a slowdown between Bayless and River to Pear, and really not that bad there. A little more volume now, north 270, but it's still just north of Manchester up to Ladue. South 270 right at Ladue, just a little bit of a slowdown there. Southbound 61, that's still kind of busy. South of P, midway down to Wentzville Parkway into 64 all the way to the Boulevard, just off the pace. And there's some slow stuff. Clarkson, midway into Timberlake. The right lanes are getting a little busier. Big Bend, Hanley area on westbound 64. Again, none of this is jammed, though. Southbound 79, just some heavy traffic both sides of North Main Street. And we still look okay downtown. Westbound across the Poplar and the Mutual Veterans Bridges. No delays there. Do see some heavier traffic on Telegraph northbound coming up through Baumgartner, headed toward Pottle, and 61 off of 55 down south is a little backed up there as well. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast, according to Joe Lundberg, looks like we're going to have a warmer week, believe it or not. I know it's cold out there right now, and we're only going to be feeling like we're in the 20s today. But tonight, it'll be clear, and we're going to be in the 20s. And then for Veterans Day, a high of 56. The afternoon's going to change very quickly tomorrow. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we climb. 64 Wednesday, 65 Thursday, 75 on Friday with plenty of sun. Right now, it's clear. The sun is up. It's 26, feels like 12 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by the Bruning Law Firm. With decades of courtroom experience and thousands of five-star reviews, the Bruning Law Firm has built a reputation for fighting hard and winning big. When your future is on the line, you want seasoned attorneys in your corner. Visit bruninglegal.com today.
It is 7:23. Kirkwood native Nikki Glazer raising some eyebrows after Saturday's SNL monologue.
Comedian Nikki Glazer is under fire for her controversial monologue as host of Saturday Night Live this weekend. The 41-year-old comedy bad girl used her time to deliver a 9-minute stand-up set. She jumped right in and invoked the name of Jeffrey Epstein early on.
Here I am in New York City, Epstein's original island.
Later, Glazer pivoted to the subject of human trafficking.
Every time you go to a women's restroom, a public women's restroom, and you sit in the stall, there's always a poster on the back of the stall that's asking you if you're being trafficked. Women, we have these, right? Yes. They're in every stall. They're in every world language. I mean, English is really tiny, and it's like, you wish.
Finally, near the end of the monologue, Glazer recounted her 4-year-old nephew asking to shower with her, of which she said the boy's mother approved.
Maybe it's okay if you come and supervise. And she was like, why? And I was like, because what if I molest him? And she was like, would you? And I was like, no, I would never. That's disgusting. But that's what I'd say if I was gonna.
The comedian was quickly criticized on social media, with some suggesting this was a career-ending moment. Others, however, praised her for her edgy yet relevant material. Glazer's comedy is known for frank discussions about sex and gender politics. She also talks about darker, taboo topics like abuse and human trafficking, so the jokes were not surprising for those familiar with her comedy. If her goal was to spark conversation on the topics, it apparently worked. I'm Kevin Carr.
A new book celebrates an internationally renowned church in St. Louis.
Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis, an illustrated timeline, traces the history of the massive church on Lindell Boulevard in the Central West End. The author is John Gunther, an architect who's also written a book about the history of the Gateway Arch. Gunther says the cathedral took about 7 years to build, starting in 1908, but the stunning mosaics filling the church took much longer to create.
It's the largest collection of mosaics, glass tesserae mosaics, in the Western Hemisphere upon completion in 1988. It took 76 years to complete. They cover 83,000 square feet of surface.
And the mosaics contain more than 41 million pieces of glass tesserae, reflecting about 7,000 unique colors. The basilica combines a Byzantine interior with a Romanesque exterior, making it unique in the world. And the mosaics were an international project with local flair. That was provided by Emil Frey Sr. He founded the famous art glass company in St. Louis in the late 1800s.
He, being an immigrant from Germany, knew of Poulin Wagner from Berlin, and he proposed a collaboration with that firm in Berlin. You had both a local presence and the great skills and volume of a larger mosaicist in Germany.
Gunther says the cathedral has been a gathering place for St. Louisans for many decades, in good times and bad.
When John F. Kennedy was assassinated, there was a memorial mass here in the cathedral the same day as his funeral mass in Washington, D.C. I would also note that Martin Luther King, when he was assassinated, there was a memorial mass for him as well. So the community comes together here to not only celebrate and worship, but also to mourn. And I think that's an important feature.
Gunther's book covers 362 years of history, including the founding of St. Louis, the growth of the United States and Midwest, and the influence of Catholicism here. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
A rare handwritten copy of the Gettysburg Address penned by Abraham Lincoln himself is currently on display in Springfield.
The world will little note nor long remember what we say here.
The document is the centerpiece of the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library Museum's new exhibit, Lincoln, A Life and Legacy That Defined a Nation. The museum is the only place where you can view Lincoln's most famous speech in his own hand. You can see it through December 1st, after which it will be replaced by a signed copy of the Emancipation Proclamation. To mark the speech's 162nd anniversary, admission to the museum will be free on November 19th. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The Battle of Gettysburg, widely considered the turning point of the American Civil War because the Union victory decisively ended General Robert E. Lee's second and final major attempt to invade the North.
It's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors, 636-441-7470, or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
It is 7:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got sunshine. It is a breezy morning. It's 26 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, heading out the door and hitting the highways, not bad. I mean, we're getting busier, but it hasn't been terrible down south. Northbound 55, just a short slowdown at 67, and we're back to seeing some slow traffic. Bayless up to River to Pear. Telegraph a little busy between Yeager and Ford or Pottle there. North 270, not bad till you get around north of Big Bend, Doherty Ferry up to Manchester, Clayton up through Ladue in the construction zone slower. South 270, again, just a little slowdown at Ladue. Southbound 61, midway down from Highway P to Wentzville Parkway on to 64 at the Boulevard's pretty busy. Eastbound 70, Z up to 64, a little slow, and it's just a little slow at 5th Street after that. Eastbound 64 itself, once you get through the Boulevard, it's just kind of slow briefly at Clarkson. Westbound 64, the right lane's Bellevue, out through Big Bend are a little busy. Downtown, we're still okay. 64 just a little heavy at the 70 split, but there are no delays across the bridges. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, it's going to be cold today. We're going to feel like we're in the 20s. Blustery and cold, says Joe Lundberg, high 39. Tonight, 27 downtown. And then tomorrow for Veterans Day, sunny, breezy, not nearly as cold in the afternoon, a high 56. In fact, we're going to warm all the way up to 75 on Friday, 64 Wednesday, 65 with sun on Thursday. Currently, it's sunny, 27, feels like 12 downtown at the Arch.
How many Americans are being laid off from their jobs and replaced by artificial intelligence? Legislation filed in the U.S. Senate is designed to answer that question. It was sponsored by Missouri Republican Josh Hawley.
Here's what I'm worried about. More and more people are losing their jobs because of AI, and they're not getting replaced with anything. We need to protect American workers. We need more jobs, not fewer. We need higher wages, not lower. This is a first step towards holding these AI companies accountable.
Hawley is co-sponsoring the bill with Virginia Democrat Mark Warner. It would require federal agencies and major companies to report AI-related job losses to the U.S. Department of Labor 4 times a year and require the Labor Department to submit an annual report to Congress.
The new St. Charles County subdivision is on pause while a traffic study is done. Trailside Farms on North Highway N near O'Fallon and Wentzville would be a 470-home subdivision on 255 acres. That's smaller than another plan on that land that was approved in 2010, 520 homes, but was dropped because of the economy then. Highway N is supposed to be expanded from 2 lanes to 4 in a few years. The developer requested the pause so that a traffic study could be done.
The deadly boar's head listeria outbreak cost Schnucks more than $1.5 million. Now, Schnucks insurance companies are suing Boar's Head, according to the Post-Dispatch, claiming Boar's Head breached its contract by failing to supply sellable meats and then refusing to reimburse Schnucks. The deli meat recall forced Schnucks to pull meats and cheeses and shut down deli counters for up to 2 weeks in some locations. A High Ridge couple sued the grocer after becoming extremely ill from contaminated liverwurst. Schnucks now features Dietz and Watson meats in its deli departments.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute is next.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. 1 daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
It is 7:35, and in 5 minutes, we'll check traffic and the weather. It's pretty windy and sunny and cold out there this morning if you haven't ventured outdoors yet. More details after we check your money report, which is sponsored for you by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Italian pasta disappearing from store shelves. Italy's biggest pasta exporters say import and anti-dumping duties on their pasta brands will make doing business in America too costly. They're preparing to pull out of U.S. stores as soon as January. The U.S. Commerce Department has announced a 92% anti-dumping duty on pasta made in Italy. That's on top of the Trump administration's 15% tariff on imports to the European Union. Well, the futures point to robust gains on optimism the government shutdown may end soon. Third quarter earnings just about over. The conclusion is corporate America is performing very well as earnings rise at the fastest pace in 4 years. The strategists appear bullish on the outlook. UBS foresees the S&P 500 reaching 7,500 by next year amid strong earnings growth. That signals an 11% upside from the current levels. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the mega stores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Genesis of St. Charles, the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025, your premier Genesis dealer. And don't wait, now is the time to visit the signature event at Genesis of St. Charles. They want your trade, and they are willing to pay more for it on any new Genesis purchase. No games, no gimmicks, just upfront pricing. Unlock the e-price today. Every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet, complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. If you are in the market for something new, let Genesis of St. Charles bring you the test drive. They have a large selection. You can drive them home today. 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That's where that state-of-the-art facility is, off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and Highway 70. It's called Genesis of St. Charles. Or you can just go to genesisofstcharles.com. Genesis of stcharles.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com. Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Fridays mean football. From the zoo to the NFL, we've got your weekend covered.
All three, ready?
It's Friday football on KMOX.
Another big company is leaving downtown, and apparently city leaders didn't see it coming.
St. Louis Development Corporation CEO Otis Williams tells me he only first learned that Peabody was leaving not just downtown St. Louis, but the city altogether when the Post-Dispatch first broke the story. I asked him when the last time his team and the city have spoken with Peabody.
We probably had last conversations with them in 2023, but I do know that the mayor had conversations with them this summer.
Williams says he wishes that they did have the opportunity to speak with Peabody before they made the decision to leave St. Louis. In downtown, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Peabody Energy renewed its lease in its namesake tower in 2022. Let's get you updated on traffic and weather right now. Roger Brand is joining us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. It's pretty windy out there this morning. I guess people will need both hands on the wheel.
Yeah, and a good coat and gloves and everything else once you get out and walk to wherever you're going to. It's pretty blustery out there right now. If you're headed down 270, got a little trouble for South 270 drivers. This traffic report service with Duke's Mayonnaise. It's a crash that looks like they may have the right lane blocked. It's southbound 270 just before 64. South 270 is slow from Olive down to that point, but it's not jammed, so that's the good news. It's not getting much worse yet. There's more volume on North 270 at Gravois. It's a little backed up at 44. And then Big Bend all the way up to Ladue is busy. Northbound 55, a short slowdown at 67. Bayless up through River to Pears, kind of busy. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, back to seeing a little volume. K through TR Hughes and at 5th Street, southbound 61. Wentzville Parkway on to 64 through to about 364. Clarkson into about Timberlake, a little busy at the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Hampton, headed out through Big Bend is slow. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Duke's Mayonnaise.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about the best mayo. It has a yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo at Hannaford. It's got twang.
All right, AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, what's going on here, and when is it going to come to an end? Although I have to say, sometimes a little cold snap is okay.
This is a pretty sharp cold snap. I mean, it was in the 40s yesterday, and today I'm not even sure we get to 40. despite the sunshine, Tom. And that wind makes it feel right now like it's about 16 degrees outside, so you really do have to dress warmly. But this is the coldest 24-hour period going forward for a while. Only 39 despite bright sunshine today. Then tonight we'll drop into the 20s, 27 downtown at the Arch, lower 20s in some of the suburbs. As we head through the day tomorrow, there'll be some sunshine, but through some high clouds too. It does warm up, though. We rebound to 56 in the afternoon. Wednesday should be even milder with sunshine and a bit of a breeze at times, the high 64. Partly sunny Thursday, mid-60s, and then we jump into the 70s with sunshine on Friday and probably again on Saturday. 27 degrees at St. Peter's and in Florissant. It's partly sunny and 29 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is now 7:42. Missouri Congressman Wesley Bell says he wants to work with his colleagues, but he couldn't go along with House and Senate Republicans because they have not shown good faith.
In negotiating and working toward lowering healthcare costs, there might be some credibility to saying, hey, let's just take your word that we'll work on it. But what we've seen is a defunding of healthcare this entire year. We've seen in the big bill, we've seen healthcare cut, Medicaid cut, and we're talking in my state, in my district, thousands of people who could lose their healthcare, and more people whose healthcare costs will rise. So this problem can't wait.
Bell says asking to extend the subsidies is not that big of an ask. He adds, let's make sure a working family won't see thousands of dollars in increased healthcare costs. The House has not yet voted on what the Senate agreed to. House members haven't been in D.C. since September, so it will take some time before representatives vote on the deal.
For travelers at the nation's airports, it's not easy getting where they want to go. They expect to get there because of FAA-ordered flight cutbacks tied to the government shutdown. Our station in New York, 1010 wins. Reporter Glenn Schuck at New Jersey's Newark Liberty International Airport, hearing one man's story.
For travelers like Aaron, all these delays and cancellations, a bit more than they can take.
I came into New York for a weekend with my daughter, celebrating her 19th birthday. We had a great time.
Well, that's good.
And then we tried to fly out last night. We went on different flights because she went back to college. She got out about 3 hours late. My flight got delayed, and finally got canceled.
Wait, you've been here all night?
Yeah.
He's trying to get home to Portland, may end up into San Francisco and driving the rest of the way. Glenn Schuck for CBS News, Newark Liberty Airport.
Chicago is dealing with an early winter storm. CBS's Ian Lee is outside Chicago in the snow, where wind chills are in the teens.
I think the only time Chicagoans ever drive within the speed limit is when the weather outside is nasty. We only got a couple inches of snow so far, but the wind is howling with gusts up to 50 miles an hour, and we're not out of the woods yet. The heavy snow began overnight, and by the time it's all said and done, we could end up with one of the biggest November snowstorms on record.
Well, it's basketball weather. Go ahead and make your way to Chaffetz Arena tonight. It'll be nice and warm in there for the Billikens and Lindenwood. Now, Lindenwood's already had a big game. They had to take on a top 10 team on the road, Texas Tech. They lost that one by a sizable margin. Josh Schertz, of course, was watching.
When they went out to Texas Tech, their two leading scorers didn't play. Those guys are both back. I think it's a good team. I think it's very much like SEMO, watching those guys, watching them out at Tech. They gave Tech a game for, 12 minutes or so of the first half, 15 minutes in that range. And like I said, Jones coming back and number 8 for them. They're two leading scorers from last year. Those guys returning will make them a much better team. I think they're well coached. They're very similar, like I said, to SEMO, where I think they're going to be an upper tier OVC team.
Billikens beat SEMO by 25, a 22-point win over Chicago State. After that, he wants to see better defense moving forward. We'll see how they play tonight. 7 o'clock, 6:45 is the pregame on KMOX. Also, a nice game going on in Edwardsville tonight. SIUE will be taking on Josh Schertz's former team, Indiana State. That one tips off at 6 o'clock in Edwardsville. Yesterday, Mizzou dropped the hammer on VMI 106-68, and Illinois State beat Cornell 76-65. On the women's side, SLU got its first win, knocking off Northern Iowa 62-58, and Illinois handled Illinois State 75-65. What will the Cardinals rotation look like in 2026? Chaim Bloom gets to work starting tomorrow. The GM meetings in Las Vegas. He's already been making some calls around, and I asked him what exactly he's looking for in starting pitching.
I think it really depends on what type of transaction we're talking about. If we're talking about on the trade front, any trades we consider, the first thing we'll want to target is controllable starting pitching. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to walk past other good players. You obviously always want to maximize the amount of good young players that you have. But if we can get starting pitching that can be a part of this core and can move forward with us for a number of years, and it's someone that we feel we like and that has a chance to get big outs at this level and take the ball 30 times and hopefully pitch in the postseason, that's going to be our primary target. Now, obviously, every club covets those types of guys, right? So there's not necessarily a guarantee that we'll be able to land someone like that, but we're certainly going to pursue that very hard when we explore the trade front. Obviously, free agency is a little bit of a different animal when you talk about having guys that have more under their belts, and we'll certainly look at those as well and look at guys that potentially have upside and that we can get something out of that maybe they haven't been able to access to this point in their careers. So we're really going to look at both.
That is Chaim Bloom. Full conversation on our Sports on a Sunday Morning podcast page at KMOX.com. He joins us every Sunday. The football world is mourning the loss of Commissioner Paul Tagliabue. The former commissioner has died at the age of 84. Helped bring labor, peace, and riches to the league during his 17 years as commissioner, but he was criticized for not taking stronger action on concussions. He handed off the Lombardi Trophy to Georgia Frontiere when the Rams won it for St. Louis in the 1999 season. And Lenny Wilkens, three-time inductee into the Basketball Hall of Fame. He was honored as both a player and a coach. He has died at the age of 88. He was a tremendous point guard, played for the St. Louis Hawks, and coached 2,487 NBA games. That is a record that still stands. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Dr. Martin Luther King.
There for every headline.
This is KMOX, the news voice of St. Louis. Martin Luther King, father of nonviolence and the civil rights movement, was killed by an assassin's bullet tonight in Memphis, Tennessee.
The assassination of Dr. King tonight demonstrates to what depth some people in this great nation of ours have fallen.
Dr. Martin Luther King was my friend, as he was to hundreds of clergymen and thousands of church leaders in this city who heard him gladly when we brought him here. I express on behalf of all his friends here our deepest sympathy.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Achieve more with competitive rates on savings and lending. Visit togethercu.org.
For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, and Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis, improving the health of all children.
St. Louis, fall is finally here and back with everything you love about the holiday season. Trans-Siberian Orchestra brings the Ghosts of Christmas Eve to Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. A portion of the proceeds benefits Sightman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's at 7:51 check in with our traffic and weather. The sun is shining even brighter right now, so I definitely think you'll need some sunglasses heading out the door. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center with the latest on any problems or incidents.
Well, it looks like they went back in service, Debbie, for that crash we had southbound 270 just before 64. They're still out there on the right shoulder, but the emergency crews are gone. So South 270 bogs down at 364. It's backed up from Olive most of the way down to Ladue where that crash is, but it's getting better. The flashing lights are gone, so I think that far right lane is back open now. Northbound 270 from Gravois up to Ladue, that's busy the whole way through. Eastbound Highway 70 looks good out of St. Charles County. Eastbound 64, just a little busy crossing over 61 onto 64. Slow up the hill to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's slow. Clarkson to Timberlake and at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. Typical volume and a slower pace there. Northbound 55, a little heavy at 67. Bales up the River to Bears, slow. And westbound 64 looks great, just a little busy right as you get on the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Joe Lundberg says we're going to have a cold day today. With that wind, we're going to feel like we're in the 20s. And then tonight it'll be clear with a diminishing wind, still in the 20s, though. Veterans Day, sunny, 56 for the high tomorrow afternoon, and it just gets better. Wednesday, 64, Thursday, 65, Friday, 75. Right now, we're looking, yes, that's right. I said 75 for Friday.
Say what?
Yeah, no. Because it feels like 11 right now. It's 27 downtown.
It is 7:53. A member of the St. Louis Board of Aldermen sparking controversy with comments made at a board meeting. The 12th Ward Sharon Tyus blamed a certain group of people for crime in her neighborhood.
The people who are creating the most terror are the Palestinians who run the gas stations and are having shootings and killings. So it's hard.
More reaction from attorney Jay Kanzler, who represents dozens of Arab business owners. He tells Fox 2 it's a diverse community.
They have invested money. They have opened restaurants and gas stations and beauty supply stores and auto stores.
A nonprofit Breaking Generational Poverty says it's working with gas station owners to reduce violence. The group says Tyus's comments are divisive and irresponsible.
St. Louis has created a city food insecurity fund to help residents impacted by federal SNAP cuts.
This is Stuart McMillan. The fund, administered by United Way of Greater St. Louis, will dedicate donations to emergency assistance. It was created in partnership with the St. Louis Area Food Bank and Operation Food Search. Numbers from St. Louis City Mayor Kara Spencer indicate that 1 in 5 residents in St. Louis rely on SNAP. The mayor is afraid these cuts will add another challenge for residents still rebuilding after the May 16th tornado.
A 54,000 square foot industrial building will be the first project built at the new Gateway South District, just south of the Arch grounds on the riverfront, which aims to transform that historic industrial area into an innovation hub. Construction Forum reports the new spec building will include 2 acres of outdoor storage and is designed to attract logistics or manufacturing tenants. The 100-acre site is positioned as a future center for the construction and design industries with ready access to the region's barge, rail, and highway networks.
Just ahead of Veterans Day and throughout November, ALSUP, a leading nationwide disability benefits advocate, and its ALSUP Veterans Appeals Service are offering a valuable opportunity: free disability appeal evaluations for veterans.
Brett Buchanan is a veteran and VA accredited claims agent and director of ALSUP Veterans Appeals. He tells KMOX, with the current conditions, there are definitely some challenges.
We help veterans with what's called their VA compensation appeals. So VA compensation is VA's disability system, often called service-connected disability, because the disability has to be found related to service in order for VA to award the benefit.
Buchanan says when the vet gets a decision they are not satisfied with, there's a disagreement or appeal process in place, and that's where ALSUP comes in.
We offer representation, and so we represent the veteran on those appeals and through the various processes.
A large amount of claims are awarded, but Buchanan says Congress expanded the benefit system in 2022, and that puts a strain on the system. Some of the rules have changed, expanding eligibilities for certain diseases, which adds another layer of complexity. And with the cuts the VA has had in recent months, that could prolong the process. Maria Akita, KMOX News.
A former St. Louis postal worker heading to prison for stealing $2.4 million in checks from the mail and committing pandemic fraud. 31-year-old Anthony Verdure II was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison. Pleaded guilty to mail theft and wire fraud after investigators linked him to more than 300 stolen checks. He also admitted to getting more than $20,000 in pandemic relief loans for a fake retail business.
It's 7:56.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build.
So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Cold weather is coming and heatupstlouis.org needs your help now. Your dollars can help keep the heat on for Missouri and Illinois veterans and families struggling with high utility bills. Donate today at heatupstlouis.org or drop a check to Heat Up St. Louis at any area Commerce Bank.
At 7:59, here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the highways are just basically slow, Debbie. We have slow traffic, though, on northbound 270 approaching Gravois midway up to 44, and then north of 44, it's a bog down all the way up to Ladue. Southbound 270, 364 down to Olive, and then the right lane's getting down through Ladue. That crash was still on the shoulder there. Eastbound Highway 70 looks great coming out of St. Charles County now. Eastbound 64 almost cleared out. It's just a little busy at Prospect and Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Doesn't look that bad there. Clarkson at Timberlake still slow right at 170 through to about Big Bend's a little busy. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker out to Hanley's a little off the pace. Northbound 55, a brief delay at 67, a little bit of a backup. Bayless up through to River to Pear downtown. Westbound, we look good across the bridges. We do have a gravel spill and a bit of a delay on Highway 94 between Darce Bottom and Highway F. And also, they're responding for a report of a shooting or stabbing at Merrimack and South Grand in South City. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A possible breakthrough in talks to end the 41-day-old government shutdown. 7 Democrats and an independent joined Republicans last night, voting in favor of a bill to fund operations. Among them, New Hampshire's Jean Shaheen. She explained on CBS Mornings.
We need to get this government back open. We need to get people paid. We need to get people air traffic moving again. We need to get people making sure that they can get their food.
Vermont's Bernie Sanders holding out.
There are people who will now be paying 50% of their limited incomes for health care.
CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns on What's Next.
It will still take at least a few days for the government to reopen. There's still some technical hoops to jump through here in the Senate. And then this all has to go back over to the House of Representatives. And remember, that chamber has been out of session since the beginning of this shutdown.
Federal Appeals Court has ordered the administration to fully fund SNAP benefits within 48 hours. Only the Supreme Court can and reverse that order. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reports the U.S. military has targeted more alleged drug boats. He says 6 people were killed in 2 strikes in the Eastern Pacific yesterday. That raises the death toll from the administration's anti-narcotics campaign to 76. The Justice Department says President Trump's issued pardons in the effort to reverse the results of the 2020 election. Among them, Rudy Giuliani and Mark Meadows. CBS's Scott McFarland reports that convicted sex traffickers put in a request.
In a letter to the White House Monday morning, U.S. House Judiciary Committee Democrats say Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking co-conspirator, is seeking a commutation of her federal prison term. The letter from the Democrats also questions whether the administration is allowing Maxwell to get preferred treatment of the federal lockup in Bryan, Texas.
President Trump hosts Syria's new president, a former al-Qaeda leader, at the White House today. Correspondent Margaret Brennan.
This meeting at the White House is yet another stamp of endorsement by the Trump administration that while he is an unlikely hero and liberator, he is the guy that Trump is betting on to keep Syria in one piece.
Wizard of Oz fans can snatch up a piece of movie history.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Pointy black hat Margaret Hamilton wore when she played the Wicked Witch of the West in the 1939 film is hitting the auction block. It's 14 inches high with a 19.5-inch brim and an elastic chin strap that kept it from falling off during the flying scenes. This is CBS News.
The annual Progressive Keys to Progress program provides vehicles to deserving veterans, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 28 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, November 10th. I'm Megan Lynch. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin voted for reopening the government. He crossed party lines along with 7 other senators. CNN asked Durbin if a separate ACA vote wouldn't be viewed as capitulation.
We need to understand how the Senate works. We have brought this issue as a major national issue from zero to a major factor, I think, in the last election.
Durbin says critics need to understand how the Senate works.
That's the funny thing about cities that are failing. You never really have one thing that ends up being, this is it, it's over, there's nothing left.
But is downtown St. Louis truly that desperate as major corporation Peabody Energy decides to pull up stakes and move its headquarters to West County? KMOX's Michael Calhoun asks a longtime former city leader.
Jeff Rainford was chief of staff to the longest-serving mayor, Francis Slay, and says it is time to make big, attention-grabbing moves to shore up a feeling of safety downtown.
And I don't think half measures and a little dink here and a little dink there and a little dunk there is going to work. I think they're going to have to do something big.
He's talking about further state intervention, hiring of more officers, perhaps a permanent highway patrol troop in the city. Ultimately, whatever's done, he says it can't be for show. KMOX asked if the détente between the city and county on poaching large companies has now been broken.
Be really surprised if St. Louis County was behind this. My guess is that Edward Jones was behind this and they had some empty space that they badly needed to fill.
But Rainford notes that a leading candidate for county executive, Brian Williams, is saying that if downtown sinks, so does the region. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A longtime alderwoman in St. Louis taking heat for comments she made Friday.
At Friday's Board of Aldermen meeting, 12th Ward Representative Sharon Tyus said this.
The people who are creating the most terror are the Palestinians who run the gas stations and are having shootings and killings. So it's hard.
Reaction came from fellow aldermen and others like attorney Jake Hansler. He represents dozens of Arab business owners. He tells Fox 2 it's a diverse community that cares.
They have invested money. They have opened restaurants and gas stations and beauty supply stores and auto stores.
A nonprofit group called Breaking Generational Poverty has been working with gas station owners to reduce violence. Board member Bryson Banks says Tyus's words were divisive and irresponsible.
Her comments were based on something. However, it is a gross negligence of responsibility to make such broad claims.
The St. Louis police issued a statement saying they don't have the data to support Tyus's claim, but they are working with all community members to build a safer St. Louis. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
St. Louis has created a city food insecurity fund to help residents impacted by federal SNAP cuts.
This is Stuart McMillan. The fund, administered by United Way of Greater St. Louis, will dedicate donations to emergency assistance. It was created in partnership with the St. Louis Area Food Bank and Operation Food Search. Numbers from St. Louis City Mayor Kara Spencer indicate that 1 in 5 residents in St. Louis rely on SNAP. The mayor is afraid these cuts will add another challenge for residents still rebuilding after the May 16th tornado.
The deadly boar's head listeria outbreak cost Schnucks more than $1.5 million. Now Schnucks insurance companies are suing Boar's Head, according to the Post-Dispatch, claiming Boar's Head breached its contract by failing to supply sellable meats and then refusing to reimburse Schnucks. The deli meat recall forced Schnucks to pull meats and cheeses and shut down deli counters up to 2 weeks in some locations. A High Ridge couple sued the grocer after becoming extremely ill from contaminated liverwurst. A new St. Charles County subdivision on pause while a traffic study is done. Trailside Farms on North Highway N near O'Fallon and Wentzville would be a 470-home subdivision on 255 acres. That's smaller than another plan on that land that was approved in 2010, 520 homes, but was dropped because of the economy then. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, Dobbs Tire and Auto continues to grow. The chain, based in High Ridge, has opened new locations and made several acquisitions, bringing the number of Dobbs locations to 130 in 8 states. Dobbs acquired automotive chains based in Longview, Texas, Cleveland, Ohio, and Columbia, Missouri. New locations are also opening in Warrenton, Arnold, and Highland, Illinois. That's according to the Business Journal. Dobbs Tire and Auto has more than 1,200 employees and generated $160 million in revenue in fiscal 2023. We'll get a check of traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank and Building Community, proudly recognizing the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County. Known as CASTLE, the agency is one of a network of community action agencies coming together to transition people out of poverty towards self-sufficiency. CASTLE serves 44,000 people in St. Louis County every year. Learn more about the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County at caastlc.org. That's caastlc.org.
This is Blake Trevenza, Commercial Relationship Manager at Busey. The Community Action Agency of St. Louis County, also known as CASTLE, helps people move from crisis to stability. With housing, food, health, legal aid, education, and more, CASTLE empowers families to break the cycle of poverty. Take action yourself and find out more about CASTLE, the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
In the last 20 years or so, have you all had buy a replacement refrigerator, washer, dryer, dishwasher after 20 years, 25 years, and then replace with a new one in the last year, like 1 or 2 or 3 years? I have. I had a refrigerator 9 years old, so I asked the appliance tech, do I need to get to real high-end stuff? And his response to me was, there's no difference in the very expensive stuff and to what you have right here. The only difference is they make them look different and they all break the same way. The only difference being the high-end parts are extremely expensive. So if you need a furnace or an air conditioner or both, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10. Let's see how things are moving on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it hasn't been a bad morning, Megan. Just a little slow here and there, and that's what we still got out there. Northbound 55, a little slow at 67. Just a little slow again at Weber Road. North 270, north of Gravway up to 44 is off the pace. Slow stuff from Big Bend most of the way up to Ladue. South 270, there's barely a slowdown at Ladue any longer, so that looks pretty good. Eastbound 64, the only real busy part is McKnight into Big Bend. Westbound 64, that Big Bend Hanley area, the right lanes are a little slow. Downtown, we're clear. Westbound across the Poplar and Musel Veterans Bridges. So Illinois drivers, interstate travel looks great for you there. We had some restrictions on 94 south of F in the Defiance area due to a gravel spill on the roadway there, but that's the only incident off the interstates of any consequence right now that's happening for you. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather turning out mainly sunny today, blustery and cold, high just 39 with AccuWeather real field temperatures mainly in the 20s. Clear early tonight with a diminishing wind, then some clouds, and cold late tonight. Will drop to 22 in the coldest outlying areas to 27 downtown at the Arch. For Veterans Day, partly sunny, breezy, and milder in the afternoon, high 56. Wednesday, a nice day with sunshine, a bit breezy at times, high 64. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sunny skies this morning, but it's brisk. 29 in Florissant, 28 in St. Peters, and 28 degrees downtown at the Arch. The state of Texas is now suing gaming platform Roblox for allegedly concealing safety risks from parents. I reached out to a group that studied the gaming platform for years for some insight on this. And joining me now is Robbie Torney of Common Sense Media. Robbie, thanks for your time this morning.
Hi, Megan.
Roblox is continually in the news. The company recently has been pushing out a lot of press about how they're doing more to protect children on their platform. Does your organization feel that is the case?
There's no question that Roblox has continued to roll out features designed to make their platform safe. The question is whether those features are doing enough. And I think first, for users who don't know what Roblox is a huge, massive online platform where users, which includes kids and adults, can play, create, and share millions of mini games, which they call experiences. And I think the important thing to know here is that Roblox has 7.5 million daily users, including 40 million users total under the age of 13. So this is a very popular platform, and it's very popular with kids. And one of the biggest ways in which this platform is risky is there's so much user-generated content on this platform, millions of games created by users. They have age ratings on them, but they're constantly mislabeled. We've found violent games rated 5+, and a range of other inappropriate content there. So that is one of the big risks. I would also say another risk is chat. There are a lot of different chat types, some of which are built into games that parents can't turn off. And when kids are chatting with strangers, other kids, potentially adults in these game experiences, the content filters can't really keep information, language, topics from coming through that chat and reaching children effectively.
I know one of the allegations is that, you mentioned the violence and things that are just not appropriate for kids, but also, the allegation in this most recent lawsuit is that this platform is really a haven for child predators and sexual exploitation. Do you feel it goes that far in some cases?
We don't have specific evidence that would point to that. However, there are, examples of features that would make it less safe for kids to engage in certain types of experiences. So, for example, when users join certain types of games or certain types of experiences, they receive a notification to add everyone in that game as a friend. So, reviewing the friend list regularly is a really critical feature for parents and for kids to do. Those friends could be kids, they could be adults, they are strangers. And when you add users as friends, it opens up some of these different types of chat experiences. So there are definitely ways in which strangers could contact and reach out to kids on Roblox that are part of the very design of the platform. And that's why, we've highlighted chat as one of the riskiest aspects of using Roblox.
I remember trying to police this with my son when he was on Roblox many years ago, and it is an incredibly difficult task. And what do you think needs to happen to try to create a better environment for kids on this platform?
I think The very thing that makes Roblox popular, these sort of massive sprawling environments that can have users from all of the world, all across the world come together and play together, is one of the things that also makes it riskiest. So if there are ways to limit who kids can be friends with, play games with, connect with, those are the types of things that are going to go a long way towards making this less risky. I know that there are certainly users who use Roblox who are having experiences playing with people that they know in real life. That's probably the safest way to use the platform. But unless users are in private servers that they've set up that are only accessible to them and their friends, they are going to be coming in contact with people that they don't know on this platform. So I think zooming out, this would just require a fundamental rethinking about how users of different age levels and different geographies and different friend groups can interact with each other, and would have to, the company would have to make some significant changes in how it's approached that.
So right now it sounds like it's really up to parents to know exactly what's happening on this platform and know what those controls are.
Yeah, I think unfortunately parental controls are a really important tool to use and be aware of and dive into on this platform. We have some guides to setting up parental controls available on our website that parents can consult, but just taking the time, if your kid is using Roblox, to really look through the different settings to understand what they do and to talk to your kid about the type of experience you want them to have. That's just going to be critical in this particular case. And I think one way of thinking about this is that this is a version of stranger danger. The strangers just happen to be online instead of in real life. So all of the things that you would teach your kids about interacting with strangers in person apply online as well. And I think that that's a good lens to take as you're setting up those parental controls.
Is this one of those things where you would say for some kids, this just is not a good idea?
Absolutely. And I think that's a place where parents are going to have to make a determination about their child and their child's maturity level, their child's ability to sort of understand these complex social situations that they may be put in, their own personal comfort as parents in terms of being able to talk to kids about potentially concerning content that they've encountered on this platform. One other aspect that we haven't spoken about is also this element of drama that spans platforms. There are conflicts and beefs and coded messages that play out on Roblox that are shared on other social media sites like YouTube that kids follow. And I think the sort of social drama aspect of Roblox is also an often poorly understood aspect of the game. It's not just about what happens on the platform. It's about sort of this culture and community of drama that surrounds the content creators that are on this platform.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen some of those YouTube videos that some of these content creators and some people playing the games have done. Is it similar to Discord? Would you say it's on that level?
Yes, it is approaching that level of sort of alternate spaces where people are talking about the game outside of the game. There definitely are Discord servers about different Roblox communities as well. So that's another place where some of these conflicts and some of this drama is playing out. But it's multi-platform. It's playing out in many different places. And I think that's another thing for parents to just consider is, do you want your kids exposed to the types of digital drama that are playing out in an all-consuming way on this platform? And if the answer is no, it may be a good idea to take a pass on letting your kids play on this platform right now.
Robbie, thanks for your insight.
Thank you.
That is Robbie Torney of Common Sense Media joining us this morning here on KMOX. And coming up, we're going to look at headaches for air travelers over the weekend. We'll get the latest from CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg. First, though, let's check on your travel on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's not bad, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. Just a little slow northbound 55 at 67, northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up to Ladue, busy the whole way through off the pace congestion, but South 270 is thinned out there. Eastbound 70 and 64 from the Wentzville split across the Missouri River bridges looks good. 64 is still slow. McKnight to Big Bend. South 170 heavy at the Parkway. Eastbound 64 also seeing a little slowdown right around Tower Grove Vanaventer, but Illinois drivers, no delays westbound across the bridges, so the rest of these highways doing fairly well. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. It's going to be sunny and cold today, pretty windy as well, with a high of 39 degrees. Right now we have sunny skies, 28 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Hey, Bethesda volunteer Dave Glover here. Winter is right around the corner, and that means shoveling snow and preparing your house for the cold. Why not let Bethesda help you enjoy the season without the hassle of home maintenance? Bethesda Orchard in Webster Groves is an active and vibrant retirement community where residents spend time doing the things they want to do, not the things they have to do. And they have this beautiful backyard garden with walking paths that the residents take care of themselves. Extremely impressive. To learn more about Bethesda Orchard or any of the Bethesda retirement communities, go to BethesdaHealth.org.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Attention veterans and active military. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is doubling their usual veterans discount on all products and services in November. That means veterans and active military get 10% off all month at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, 10% off all doors, openers, and any service or repair. Details on their website. Schedule your annual garage door tune-up before winter really sets in. Just call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Discover the life you want at Fairwinds River's Edge in St. Charles. We deliver a life-enhancing environment that nourishes the mind, body, and spirit as residents lean into joy and embrace purpose in a new age of senior living. Simply put, we have your back so you can put your best foot forward. Join us Wednesday, December 3rd for our holiday craft fair, followed by happy hour with BB Boomers. Visit Fairwinds River's Edge on Facebook to learn more.
Swapping out your tires? There's nothing like it. With eBay, you can find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Flight cancellations and delays, a big annoyance for travelers over the weekend. The FAA last week ordered a reduction in air travel as the government shutdown impacts critical air traffic control. Joining me now, CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg. Peter, I'm wondering how many flights overall were canceled across the U.S. over the weekend?
Well, if you add Friday, Saturday, and yesterday, we're at about 5,000. That doesn't 5,000 delays plus cancellation. So it's in that mix. Remember, they were supposed to cancel about 4,000 flights, which is 10% of the 44,000 flights that are in the air every day by the end of today. So they're well on their way to doing that. Now, having said that, the rumor is we may actually get the end of the shutdown if the vote happens in the next couple of hours or days.
What kind of delays did travelers see over the weekend?
Well, it's interesting. The airlines were allowed to pick the flights that they canceled. It wasn't about the amount of people that were flying. It was the planes that were flying. And in almost every case, the airlines chose the smaller flights, the smaller planes, to keep those big planes flying. So the total number of passengers impacted was a lot less than it could have been. So it wasn't about the passengers, it was about the traffic.
Air traffic controllers have scheduled a news conference this morning. What would you expect to hear from them?
Well, number one, they're going to remind us that we were still short 3,500 controllers before the shutdown happened, so that we're not out of the woods yet. And of course, they hired 2,000 new controllers to train them, but that training procedure takes 2 to 3 years. It's a very steep learning curve. So while we may be on track by this Friday in terms of getting everything on the schedule back in order, planes back in sequence, crews back on schedule, and flights where they're supposed to be, they're still going to have to address the staffing issues. Because remember, before the shutdown of 313 air traffic control facilities in the United States, 311 of them were understaffed already.
What would you tell travelers right now who may be flying in the next week?
Keep your reservation. It's going to be relatively easy for the airlines to pivot. They have plans in place to do that. They're just waiting for the go-ahead for the amount of staff on the ground to handle them, meaning the air traffic controllers. Remember, it's all about capacity. If they can't get enough controllers in the tower, they had to limit the number of flights, and that's exactly what they did. Same thing about getting them back in. They will now add more flights in as controllers return to the towers.
That is CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg. Thank you so much for your time.
You got it.
It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
It's 8:30. Let's head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, what are you watching?
Well, it's not too much on the highways, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Metro Transit. We just have some slow traffic north 270. Now it's north of Manchester, all the way up through Ladue. It opens up midway up to Olive there. 70 and 64 coming in from Wentzville look great. South 270 at the 70 exit, we have a stall, so those right lanes are a little backed up at that point. If you're on eastbound 64, McKnight and through about McCausland. There's just slow stretches running through there. South 170 is busy at the Parkway. We still have those restrictions on Highway 94 near Darsh Bottom, south of Highway F. We had a gravel spill on the highway. There's still restrictions there. They're waiting for a large piece of equipment like a front loader to come and take care of that. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Looks like autumn has arrived, and all fall long, a Metro Transit Day Pass is still just $5, which makes you just one click away from your one-day mental health fall getaway. Plan your trip at metrostlouis.org.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, sunny skies today, but it's going to be windy and cold. Expect a high of 39 degrees, and we'll feel temperatures could be in the 20s today. For tonight, clear early with diminishing wind, then partly cloudy and cold late. We're going to have an overnight low around 25 degrees. And for Veterans Day tomorrow, partly sunny, breezy, not quite so cold, a high of 56. Currently, we have sunshine, 29 degrees downtown at the Arch. A new book is celebrating an internationally renowned church in St. Louis.
Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis, an illustrated timeline, traces the history of the massive church on Lindell Boulevard in the Central West End. The author is John Gunther, an architect who's also written a book about the history of the Gateway Arch. Gunther says the cathedral took about 7 years to build, starting in 1908, but the stunning mosaics filling the church took much longer to create.
It's the largest collection of mosaics, glass tesserae mosaics in the Western Hemisphere upon completion in 1988. It took 76 years to complete. They cover 83,000 square feet of surface.
And the mosaics contain more than 41 million pieces of glass tesserae, reflecting about 7,000 unique colors. The basilica combines a Byzantine interior with a Romanesque exterior, making it unique in the world. And the mosaics were an international project with local flair. That was provided by Emil Frey Sr. He founded the famous art glass company in St. Louis in the late 1800s.
He, being an immigrant from Germany, knew of Poulin Wagner from Berlin, and he proposed a collaboration with that firm in Berlin. So you had both a local presence and the great skills and volume of a larger mosaicist in Germany.
Gunther says the cathedral has been a gathering place for St. Louisans for many decades, in good times and bad.
When John F. Kennedy was assassinated, there was a memorial mass here in the cathedral the same day as his funeral mass in Washington, D.C. I would also note that Martin Luther King, when he was assassinated, there was a memorial mass for him as well. So the community comes together here to not only celebrate and worship, but also to mourn. And I think that's an important feature.
Gunther's book covers 362 years of history, including the founding of St. Louis, the growth of the United States and Midwest, and the influence of Catholicism here. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
And still ahead on Total Information AM, we're going to look at veterans facing a struggle getting their benefits approved. Plus, is AI causing us to lose touch with reality? That's coming up. Your Money Report is next.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
8:35, time for Your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's John Tucker.
The S&P 500 had risen for 3 straight weeks before last week's losses. UBS strategists forecast the S&P 500 is going to hit 7,500 by the end of 2026. That's about an 11% gain from current levels. And Oppenheimer's John Stolfus says it's too early to give up on chip makers and the outlook for artificial intelligence. Pfizer has won the bidding war for the weight loss drug startup Metsera. It secured the $10 billion deal after the Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk said it did not plan to increase its offer. Metsera cited a call from the Federal Trade Commission regarding potential risk from proceeding with the proposed Novo deal structure. Retailers have fought for years to slash their share of the cost for accepting card payments. Now a source tells Bloomberg Visa and MasterCard are close to a new agreement that will attempt to settle a 2-decade legal spat. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
Now that we're getting older, we've been putting more thought into maintaining our health.
We knew the water we drink every day could be filled with contaminants. So
we called Leaf Home Water Solutions.
They came to our home and did a free water test and gave us the analysis right away.
We were shocked at what we saw.
They found heavy metals like iron and copper.
Our own tap water was putting our health at risk, but Leaf Home Water Solutions made it easy to get safer water from every tap and hose, a whole home solution.
They have more than 250 product combinations and designed a system that fits our needs and budget. The installation took less than a day.
With Leaf Home Water Solutions, our water is safer and healthier. When we drink, when we cook, when we shower, even when we garden.
We feel better about our health.
Thanks to Leaf Home Water Solutions.
Schedule your free home water test today at leafhome.com/free and save 15% on all home water treatment systems. That's leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would it leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection on the drivetrain, AC, and more. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call 800-298-9302. 800-298-9302.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game, stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, we're the home run hitters you need. Morgan & Morgan, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, among moderate Democrats who voted for a deal to restart the government, saying the issues the party raised with the shutdown already made a difference in last week's elections. Federal and state health officials investigating 13 cases in 10 U.S. states of infant botulism poisoning linked to By Heart baby formula, that formula being recalled. 2 pitchers with the Cleveland Guardians have been indicted on charges they took bribes to give sports bettors advance notice of their pitches and intentionally toss balls instead of strikes to ensure successful bets. And just in this morning, the Supreme Court has rejected a call to overturn its landmark decision that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. Let's check your ride into work with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's pretty good out there for pretty much everybody right now, Megan. This traffic report's a service of S&L Coins. We do have this, I guess it's a stall in the right lane on the ramp from southbound 270 getting onto Highway 70. So it's the right lane, so it'd be the westbound 70X lane. So that ramp still just a short backup. Eastbound 64, just a little slow, 170 into about Big Bend, and it looks a little busy running through Kings Highway. North 270, a little volume test on Ferry through Sappington and right at Ladue, but otherwise it's really thinned out there. We still have those restrictions on Highway 94 south of Highway F where they had that gravel spill. We're waiting for some heavy equipment to come clean that up. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
Sunny skies today, windy and cold, a high 39. Right now, 29 degrees and sunny skies downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, and this is Total Information AM here on KMOX. As we commemorate Veterans Day tomorrow, there are many veterans struggling whether it's with being unhoused, addictions, untreated mental health issues, or untreated health issues related to their service. And there's something else you might not be aware of unless you know or have a vet in your family. KMOX's Maria Kina spoke with Brett Buchanan, the director of the Veterans Disability Appeal Service at ALSUP, about the struggle of trying to get medical benefits or disabilities approved by the VA.
Sometimes the veteran's just not aware of everything that they need to bring to the table, and that's what we often resolve on appeal.
Just seems like they have to go through an awful lot of red tape.
What we tell our veterans is when they come to us, we do our best to set expectations, and I tell them, hey, we've talked to you, we reviewed the information that you have. We feel confident that we can make a positive difference if we move forward. But this is what we tell everybody. Expect our relationship to last. It can last a couple of years because the time between decision makers can stretch that far. And then two, it can take multiple decisions and multiple yeses to get the ultimate resolution that you're looking for. Because the way the system allows is each disability is actually its own yes or no. So, we may appeal 5 disabilities and get 2 approved, but 3 denied, but we still feel strongly about those remaining 3. So we take those 3 to the next level of appeal, and maybe we get some of those granted. So it can take multiple yeses with this system to get to your ultimate yes. And that's what we tell the veterans that we help.
My question would be about, with all of that process that you have to go through, if a veteran is truly sick and experiencing problems, that's just drawing it out.
It can draw it out. It can be a lengthy adjudication process. And you're right. If they're sick, it's often in a lot of cases we have. It's not, VA is acknowledging that they have something wrong with them today, but where our challenge often lies in the appeal space is there wasn't enough evidence that where VA felt that what they have today is related to service, and so that's the hurdle we often overcome. But you're absolutely correct. There's some faster decision making options at the lower benefit office. But if you have to take your appeal to what's called the Board of Veteran Appeals, which is kind of the final decision maker in the process, that can take a year to 3 years, depending on the type of appeal that you have. And if you want a hearing with the board to have a personal hearing, those current wait times are 3 to 4 years.
Which seems really absurd to me as a civilian, but I understand that there's a lot of red tape when you're dealing with the government. The other thing, I guess you still have people from the Vietnam War that are still applying for benefits, yet you're dealing with the most recent conflicts, the 3 recent conflicts with the burn pits and all the other injuries. Is VA adequately staffed for this?
They have a big mission, and they are experiencing, and I'm saying this because our caseload does represent veterans from all the eras. And the eras I have them in are the Vietnam era, the Cold War era, I'll say the Gulf War era, so the early 90s, and then your post 9/11 veteran, right? And all those populations are filing claims. And because I have all those populations in my caseload and in my team's caseload. So, the VA has a very tough mission, and whether or not they're adequately staffed, I'll let VA answer that. They are doing claims. Some of the claims options are quick, but I think the numbers exceed what they can do sometimes.
And you did say during this shutdown, though, they are still functioning. Those claims are still being processed.
Correct. The claims are still being processed, but a lot of the admin support has been deemed non-essential. So communication with the VA for both claimants and for representatives sometimes can be difficult when it comes to certain cases that are kind of stuck or need a special attention because of their unique nature. It's hard to communicate with the VA at this time because of the shutdown. So those are the challenges we're experiencing.
Brett, with your team, the number that you're of vets that you're dealing with now, just with all the conflicts, Vietnam that you're still receiving claims from, and as well as like you mentioned, Cold War and then the Gulf and after 9/11, how many veterans would you estimate that you're receiving claims from? So just how many do you deal with?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's in the thousands, and what makes it even again, this is the challenge of this disability system. Going back to when I said each disability is technically its own claim, and so you can have one veteran, but if they have if they have a condition like a back injury, well, back injury can cause nerve damage to your lower limb, like the sciatic nerve, right? So a lot of people who have a bad back also have sciatic involvement in the legs. Well, those are two different body systems. Those are technically 2 to 3 different claims, which to me sounds like one claim. To you probably sounds like one claim, but it breaks out to these multiple disabilities within the body, right? Because everything's connected. And so and so what happens is you can have one veteran have the VA has put out the average post 9/11 veteran is filing for, it's close to like 5 to 12 different disabilities. And some of them are smaller. They're not totally debilitating. And some of them are much larger as far as, they can really totally debilitate and make a person not able to work. But nonetheless, that's the challenge. So you take that number of veterans and then you just multiply it out even more, because very few veterans are only filing for one disability. They often have multiples, because sometimes the disability that is directly related to service can cause issues down the road, and those become disabilities as well that can be claimed.
That's Brett Buchanan, Director of the Veterans Disability Appeal Service at ALSUP, speaking with our Maria Kina. ALSUP provides free VA disability appeal evaluations. It's now 8:46. A rare handwritten copy of the Gettysburg Address, penned by Abraham Lincoln himself, is currently on public display in Springfield.
The world will little note nor long remember what we say here.
The document is the centerpiece of the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library Museum's new exhibit, Lincoln, A Life and Legacy That Defined a Nation. The museum is the only place where you can view Lincoln's most famous speech in his own hand. You can see it through December 1st, after which it will be replaced by a signed copy of the Emancipation Proclamation. To mark the speech's 162nd anniversary, admission to the museum will be free on November 19th. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The Battle of Gettysburg, widely considered the turning point of the American Civil War, because the Union victory decisively ended General Robert E. Lee's second and final major attempt to invade the North. Coming up on Total Information AM, AI could be causing you to lose touch with reality. We're going to give you some warning signs next.
Hey, just check the mail. We've been invited to a seminar and dinner is free.
It's going to be chicken, and it'll taste like Play-Doh.
Don't be fooled. All seminars are not the same. For example, Steve All, an investment advisor representative and founder of the All Financial Group, is hosting a taxes and retirement seminar at his office in Chesterfield on December 10th. Come meet Steve's newest advisor, Tracy Richardson, as she discusses the big beautiful bill, taxes on your Social Security, and more. Tracy will not only cover the hurdles you can face in retirement, but ways to keep more money in your pocket and less in Uncle Sam's. This is a complimentary event, but seating is limited, so reserve your seat today. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
You know, hon, I've always been interested in us buying a timeshare.
I'd rather eat Play-Doh.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope, Missouri offers free, confidential support wherever you are. Call or text 1-800-985-5990 and connect with a local crisis counselor today. From Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Help KMOX make the holiday season brighter for St. Louis area children by supporting TSO Tuesdays, benefiting Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. On Tuesdays, Sugar Fire will donate a portion of their TSO Tuesday special to Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. Get your tickets today for this holiday tradition. All you need to know at KMOX.com.
Wake up informed. Wake up empowered. Wake up to Total Information AM, your morning must.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Megan Lynch.
This is Tom Ackerman.
From local news to breaking headlines to weather, traffic, and the stories that matter most, we've got you covered before your first sip of coffee. Expert analysis, bright perspectives from the people you trust. Total Information AM, your day starts here. Mornings beginning at 5 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm Megan Lynch, and you're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. With me in studio is Julie Smith, author, Webster University instructor, and international speaker. Julie, thanks for joining me.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for having me.
I've done quite a few interviews lately about AI psychosis, about how people are not only, it's not just like an echo chamber, it's AI really feeding them kind of the next step and leading to things like delusion and even some really tragic consequences. So I know you have been looking at this and looking at maybe what some of the red flags are that we can look for with too much AI chatbot use.
Right. So AI psychosis is this non-clinical term describing when we feel like we have a relationship with a chatbot. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a romantic relationship. It can be very platonic, but it causes someone to kind of lose touch with reality. So we have to remember while we're talking about this, that the chatbots are programmed to be agreeable. They are programmed to mirror what we say and keep the conversation going and to validate our beliefs. And so I can see why this would happen. But some things people need to look for, excessive use or dependency, like are they neglecting work or school or sleep? Have they withdrawn socially? Are they preferring to interact with the chatbot rather than real people? Do they have an emotional attachment? Do they refer to the chatbot by a name or a pronoun rather than it? And have they kind of forgotten that it's a machine? It is a program. And I can see how easily this might happen for some people.
Is part of the risk the fact that for a lot of people, they've got it right in their pocket with their smartphones? It's not like they have to go seek out a computer to have these AI relationships.
And the AI is available 24/7. And who wouldn't want a friend like that, right? Available 24/7, will agree with everything you say. It's appealing. I get it.
I was talking with someone else about this, about, how do you educate people to really understand, and do they really want to understand?
That's the ticket, right? I've been talking about media literacy for 30 years, but I feel like a lot of people aren't interested in that. And I think AI kind of falls into that category, that we are very comfortable with our media consumption and we really don't want to look at it critically. But I think that AI literacy and AI fluency is the next really big skill that people need to have.
Are you concerned about how this technology could advance even further over the next just 1 to 2 years? Because it's exploded in the last few years.
I'm concerned about how it will advance in the next hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it moves so quickly. And I think that that's something that's kind of intimidating for people. They don't even really know where to start if they're going to learn about AI. And I have no idea where the technology will go, but I'm sure it will surprise us and concern us simultaneously.
Going back to the list of those red flags, which one for you do you feel like people need to key in on the most?
I think forgetting it's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teenagers, and I think adults too, are turning to chatbots for quote unquote therapy. It's a way to vent, and it's always available. And for like romantic relationships, it's a way to, I guess, practice communication or practice flirting in a real low risk environment. But the more that we interact with something, I think that we're more likely to consider it an entity, like an actual living entity rather than a computer program. And that's the part that scares me the most.
I have to wonder if some of this isn't an outgrowth of the fact that for younger generations, mostly, they have come up, for example, gaming, where
Right.
they can do chats with people they've never met before. And other platforms where they may be talking, through games with people over headsets.
Sure.
So why wouldn't this AI chatbot experience be more comfortable to them?
Well, because the gamers aren't necessarily going to agree with what you're saying. Usually there's a lot of smack talk, right?
Yeah.
But the chatbots are engineered to be agreeable, engineered to keep the conversation going, engineered to validate whatever you say. You can type in a chatbot, I'm going to play hooky at work today. And the chatbot would respond, great idea, you deserve a break. It's a mirror of, I think, some of our darkest intents.
Yeah, we worry a lot about younger people, but in some ways I feel like they're pretty savvy. I wonder if we should be more worried about people that are older who may not really have a grasp of how all this technology works.
And that's the same with misinformation online and media literacy in general. I think that our students and our kids, have grown up creating media. And so they're more likely to always remember that everything they see on a screen is a construction. Whereas if you grew up watching Walter Cronkite like I did, there were gatekeepers to media production, and those gatekeepers no longer exist. And I think people who grew up with gatekeepers might have a tougher time distinguishing what's real and what's not.
That is Julie Smith, author, Webster University instructor and speaker, joining us here on Total Information AM. And make sure you join us tomorrow. We're going to look at how ChatGPT could help fuel eating disorders. It's 8:56.
The Senate advances a deal to end the government shutdown, but it needs to keep moving forward, or 1 in 10 flights could be canceled by Friday. Plus, Small Business Saturday is approaching. What are their biggest concerns? And it's Toasted Ravioli Week. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This fall, get a taste of what's to come at Dragonstone, an exclusive new Lombardo Homes community in Darden Prairie, west of Highway K and south of 364. Join us Saturday, November 15th at our Inverness display in O'Fallon for a grand opening celebration filled with treats, a cozy coffee bar, mini pumpkin pies, and a first look. Dragonstone, building Tradition Series homes and offering only 5 spacious home sites. Dragonstone offers luxury and privacy, as well as the convenience of living just minutes from Highway 364 and 64. Visit LombardoHomes.com for more information.
For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.